Please rise as the sound of the campus chimes introduces the Ohio State University alma mater, Carmen, Ohio.
Begin this season. Welcome everyone to BTN Football, presented by the United States Marine Corps. Today is the first day of September and the first day of a new era in Ohio State football. The Miami Redhawks in town taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes. So glad to have you here for year 6 of Big Ten Network football. I am Eric Collins alongside my partner Derek Rackley, and what a ride it has been so far here on BTN with college football around this conference. Well, what a ride it's been here in Columbus over the last 9 months. New head man, Urban Meyer. So much talk, so much buzz. It has finally come here, the season opener.
Eric, I think it's safe to say that this is one of the most anticipated head coaching debuts in recent college football history. Coach Urban Meyer brings his 2 national titles and 104 career wins to Columbus. And you'd think a guy that's won 82% of his games as a head coach wouldn't be nervous, but he told us yesterday, guys, I'm glad it's a noon kickoff because there's not a whole lot of time to get caught up in the moment. It's a great day for Urban Meyer and a great day for Ohio State University.
And Urban Meyer is not the only new thing here in Columbus. It's going to be a brand new offense run by this Buckeye team, and they're hoping to get a brand new quarterbacking performance out of last year's starter, Braxton Miller.
Well, maybe the most excited guy on campus to hear that Urban Meyer was bringing his spread offense was Braxton Miller. Over 700 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns as a true freshman. He's an elite athlete, a highlight reel waiting to happen. I expect him to be much more comfortable in year 2 as the starting quarterback. And Eric, in this style of offense, there is numerous opportunities for him to fill up the stat sheet.
All right, get ready to get this one started. Before we do, let's introduce the 3rd member of our broadcast team. It is Lisa Byington down on the sidelines. Today, the sideline report brought to you by Best Buy.
Eric, you touched the It's a very emotional day for Urban Meyer. In fact, he told me in the pregame that he actually teared up this morning when he heard the band play some of those songs that he remembered from way back when. He has the emotions to deal with. He has a new team and a new coaching staff to deal with. He took this team last Friday through an entire Friday walkthrough so they could get that routine down. He had, for the first time since Bowling Green, he is really dealing with a new coaching staff. So how is he going to deal with it today? He's holding a Buckeye either in his hand or in his pocket for good luck. And speaking of Buckeyes, you can follow this action all day long on Twitter. If you have a second screen, an iPad, a phone, a laptop, just follow the hashtag on your screen or go to www.btn.com/connect.
Lisa, thank you so much. Getting ready to play some football. It has been a while, 278 days since the hiring of Urban Meyer until right now. This moment, just minutes away from a new era of Ohio State football kicking off. This is an Ohio State team that has got some talent, and Urban Meyer thinks that they have a chance to be a real force this year. Now these Ohio State Buckeyes last year 6-7. They ended the season with 4 consecutive losses, but really that'll probably be the last time that anyone mentions that. Ohio State looking forward, thinking about what they can do in the months to come and the years to come. With Urban Meyer working that sideline, he is Ohio born and bred, born in Toledo, raised in Ashtabula, went to college down in Cincinnati, and now coaching his first game at Ohio State. Here's the public address announcer at Ohio Stadium, Bob Kennedy.
In July 1969. However, many are unaware of his earlier service to our nation as a distinguished and decorated naval aviator flying combat missions during the Korean War. He became a test pilot for some of the world's most advanced aircraft, such as the X-15. In the early days of the space program, Armstrong commanded Gemini 8, the first spacecraft to dock with another vehicle. Neil Armstrong had a distinguished career as an astronaut, test pilot, aerospace engineer, university professor, and naval aviator. Please rise in proud respect and join us in a moment of silence for a native of Wapakoneta, Ohio, Neil Alden Armstrong. Thank you. And now, under the baton of Dr. Stephen Lytle, Director of Marching and Athletic Bands at Miami University, to honor America. Please remain standing and join the band in the singing of our national anthem.
At Ohio Stadium. Urban Meyer, new Ohio State head coach, standing by with Lisa Byington.
Coach, you've been a part of
Captain
debuts,
for today's
but none
game
like
for
this.
Miami,
Tell me through what your
90,
emotions
Austin
were
Brown.
running through that tunnel for the first time.
Well, a lot of emotions, but most importantly, I just want this team to play. These kids deserve to play well. They've been through a lot of stuff, and it's time to let it rip a little bit.
Before you left that locker room, what was your final message to this football
Play
team?
the game very angry. Play the game like a team that's been through a lot because they have, and it's time now it's payday for them.
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you so much, and what a difference home openers for Ohio State have been from last year to this year for Urban Meyer. Last year he was on site, but he was up in this booth. He was an announcer for the game. Now he's down there calling the shots for the Ohio State Buckeyes for the first time.
Yeah, we asked him a little bit about that, and he said he had an appreciation for what we did up in the booth. May not really have translated to anything that he does differently back in the helm as a head coach, but as you talked about, or you heard him tell Lisa, he wants his team to come out angry. That's usually what happens in the first game, Eric. The guys are tired of hitting the same guys the entire month of August. They're going to come out ready to play and eager to hit another jersey.
Miami has won the toss. They have decided that they want to receive the football. There is another native son of the state of Ohio, Don Treadwell, born and raised in Oberlin, Ohio. Played, of course, at Miami, and now coming back to his alma mater. This is second season. He was on Mark D'Antonio's staff for a number of years up at Michigan State.
Very familiar with the Big Ten Conference, so he knows what's going on here at Ohio State. And Zach Dysert will be the quarterback coming out. Extremely accomplished quarterback in his previous 3 seasons. His name is basically right behind Ben Roethlisberger, of course, the Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Steelers, on almost every record for a quarterback in Miami history.
It's kind of an obvious decision for Don Treadwell and the Red Hawks to take the football to begin this game. It is an electric environment right now at Ohio Stadium. They're trying to just diffuse some of that electricity. Want to get the ball and hopefully put up some points for them. All right, temperature at our kickoff is 82 degrees. A lot of humidity. We're expecting scattered showers throughout the afternoon. This is going to be an early litmus test for an Urban Meyer-led team. He is the de facto special teams coordinator. This is a part of the game that he has emphasized oh so much over the last couple of weeks.
Well, for a lot of people that haven't seen Ohio State, and you're going to look out there on special teams, you're going to notice there's a lot of starters, a lot of marquee players will play on all the special teams units. And Coach Meyer said that as the head coach, that way nobody has to question me why my starting linebacker, my starting defensive back, my starting wide receiver are playing on special teams. He puts that much focus on this phase of the game.
This year, kickoff starting at the 35-yard line. Dajuan Scott has it sail over the head. That is a touchback. This year, touchbacks put the ball at the 25-yard line. All right, here comes the senior from Ada, Ohio, making his 31st start, Zach Dysert.
Yeah, we talked about Zach Dysert just being such an accomplished quarterback. He's got great size at 6'4", 230 pounds. And if you want to talk about a Northern Miami quarterback going into the next level, it's been reported that 26 out of 32 NFL teams have already been through to watch him in fall practice.
Leader two, 3-time captain, is Dysert. 5 receivers in the game to begin things for the Red Hawks. And before we get our first play from scrimmage, a flag down. Here's Todd Gurley. So it's a delay of game. First play of the season.
Yeah, usually you have it scripted too, so that's unfortunate for Miami that they come out and have a delay of game penalty when everybody on that offense should have known exactly what the first play was going to be ran.
All right, now they get a playoff. Dysert over the middle, and they basically get the penalty back plus a yard. First catch of the season, Andy Cruz. Let's take a look at the backs and receivers for Miami University. They've got to keep an eye on his number 8, Nick Harwell, just a junior from Texas. Last year he had 97 catches and 9 touchdowns. They're trying to get some production out of Justin Semmes as the tailback. Last year, Miami was dead last in all of FBS football in rushing. 4 receiver set, another quick hitter, and it is caught at the 30, and a flag comes down. Maybe helmet-to-helmet contact. The catch was made by Andy Cruz. Etienne Sabino really thumped him.
Just heard Urban Meyer talk about his group coming out being angry. I think that's a pretty good example right there.
Defense leading with a crown ahead, 50-yard penalty, and automatic first down.
You'll see Sabino coming right across the middle of the formation at the linebacker position. A great hit right there, but the officials deemed that he led with the crown of his head. And that's just one of those situations where you got a linebacker being aggressive. As a coaching staff, you're not going to take too much away from that, although you don't want those to rack up through the course of a game.
Couple of quick passes to begin the game from Miami. Here's another quick pass. Catch is made by David Frazier. And Miami has crossed over the 50. Let's take a look at the Miami University offensive line. Could be an issue. They've got a 18-year-old left guard, Brandon Cook, starting his first college game. He's a true freshman out of Cincinnati. Also keep an eye on the center, Brad Bednar. He started at center before, but he's a late addition to the center spot. We expected JoJo Williams, who will not play today. He is banged up in practice earlier this week. Bednar gets that snap off well out of the gun, and the pass is incomplete. First incompletion for Dysart, looking for Dajuan Scott. Let's take a look at our Auto Owners Insurance defense for Ohio State. They are led, of course, by John Simon, who's been so wonderful for so many years. Urban Meyer says he's one of the top 5 people he's ever met. We're not talking players, top 5 people he has ever met. 3rd down and 1, Buckeye defense being tested for the first time. Dysart over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Frazier, who bobbled it and dropped the football.
That's a ball that has to be caught by Frazier right there. Zach Dysart put that ball in a very nice location, coming across on a crossing route. You can see it's right in his hands. I know there's going to be a little bit of jitters coming into this atmosphere, but if you want to be able to have success going on the road in Ohio Stadium, that's a ball that you got to catch.
Zach Murphy was a weapon last year as the punter for Miami University. He punts it away to Corey Philly Brown. This is Brown with the fair catch. He makes it at the 12-yard line.
Billy Graham makes a fair catch about the 12-yard line.
Punt of 34 yards, no return. Here is Braxton Miller, just the 3rd Ohio State true freshman to start at quarterback.
And Eric, we got a chance to see how electric he was last year in just the first year as a starter. And as I mentioned earlier, I expect him to be much more comfortable, even learning a new offense. The fact that he's already seen college football action, I think he'll be a lot more comfortable. He'll be able to move this offense down the field.
Last year, sacks were an issue. He was sacked 39 times in 13 games. This is going to be Miller trying to left end. He's pushed out of bounds after a gain of 3, maybe 4. DJ Brown on the stop. Let's take a look at the Ohio State starters on offense. Backs and receivers. The workhorse expected to be number 34, Carlos Hyde. He has really separated himself from all the other tailbacks. Zach Bourne may actually get a couple of carries this year, and they're looking for someone to make a difference at wide receiver. They've even converted Jake Stoneburner, a tight end in the past, to wide receiver. Second offensive snap for Ohio State, and it's an option right side. Miller breaks a tackle and gets a first down. Pickup of 8 for Braxton Miller.
And again, you're seeing that spread option coming to work real early. You're going to see him using Zach Bourne in the backfield. He's reading that right side defensive end. He crashes down. Braxton pulls out in a great fake pitch right there. Gets the defensive line backer to commit outside, and he gets it up the field.
3 receiver set. Miller hasn't thrown his first pass so far this year. Miller. Crossing route incomplete, looking for Devin Smith. Here's the starters on the offensive line for Ohio State. Just 2 returning starters. One of them, Jack Muhort, who used to be a guard. Now he's the left tackle, protecting Braxton Miller's blind side.
Well, this is one of the units that Coach Meyer said has made a lot of improvement between when he became the head coach all the way through spring practices and now into fall camp. There's starting to be some continuity on this group because, as you mentioned, Eric, they're replacing a lot of really accomplished starters that played on that offensive line last year.
Tackles need to be really athletic in Urban Meyer's offense. Second down and a bunch. They fake it to Bourne, and Miller almost broke the first wave of defenders, picks up 4. Here's the Auto Owners Insurance starting defense for Miami. Austin Brown is a captain, real stout in the middle of the line. Linebackers, Pat Hinkle, he's uber athletic, was a defensive back last year, now an outside linebacker. And Dayon Nunley, 9 career interceptions. He's been a playmaker in Oxford, Ohio. 4 plays for Ohio State, 3 runs from Braxton Miller. Now he wants to throw. In trouble. Throws late and out of bounds. And Ohio State has another incompletion, their second one of the game.
Well, obviously, when you're coming out on the field, you want to be able to have a successful play. You want to be able to complete it. But what I like from Braxton Miller here is once he realized that he did not have any receivers open, he went ahead and chucked this ball out of bounds, did not take the sack. But sometimes you just have to learn to live with a punt. And if you've got a good punter like Ohio State does, you can change field position and live for the next series.
Familiar face for Ohio State Buckeye fans, Ben Buchanan. Now a senior punting the football away. Dayon Nunley, one of the corners, calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 30-yard line. We'll take a timeout. Come back to Ohio Stadium in a moment. BTN Football is presented by the United States Marine Corps. The few, the proud, the Marines. Also in part by John Deere, the all-new, all-powerful Gator RSX 850i. And by the convenience stores and Speedway. Always your first choice for value and convenience. Welcome back, everyone. Kind of a different environment for an Ohio State home opener. Students, they're already back in school. Ohio State has gone to semesters, no longer on quarters. School is already in session. That is a big-time difference here in Columbus. Both Ohio State and Miami with a first down and then a punt. First time with the ball. Justin Semmes gets the carry, picks up 3. Let's finish off the Ohio State starting defense, brought to you by auto owners. Etienne Sabino has been in the program for 5 years, but he's been nicked up, hasn't had a lot of opportunity. Now going to get a chance to be a star in his senior season. And in the defensive backfield, no one with Ohio State is faster than that man, Bradley Roby. He is a big play waiting to happen. Redhawks, 5 passes, just 1 run. Trying to establish something on the ground. Semmes with the carry, and he's tackled by number 43, Nathan Williams. That is a great sight to see. Nathan Williams has been dealing with a significant knee injury, but he's healthy enough to be on the field right now.
Had microfracture surgery last year, which, as you mentioned, Eric, is a very detailed and rough injury to have. And Coach Meyer told us yesterday it was going to be Luke Fickell and Mike Vrabel's decision on whether or not he would get in the ball game. He would like him to get in to be able to knock off the Russ. It's a huge boost for this defense getting him back on the field.
Robert Williams checks in as the tailback in this formation for Miami. Dysert wants to throw. Has a man wide open. It's Harwell out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
Already seeing your first breakdown in the secondary for Ohio State, and those are some of the types of growing pains you're going to have early on in the season. You're seeing a miscommunication in the secondary between C.J. Barnett and the corner. This is one of those times where just experience, it gets better. You're able as a safety to tell each other what's going on. Travis Howard was playing the corner position. Great big play there for Miami's offense.
First time they look to Harwell, and he comes up with 42 yards. They want Scott pushed out of bounds by Corey Brown. Second down and 6. Miami playing Ohio State for just the 5th time in the school's history. Redhawks have never defeated the Buckeyes. Flag down on the field. Dysert pass is complete. Down to the 11-yard line. It's Scott once again, but we'll have to sort it out. Would be a pickup of 7.
Offside. Defense. Number that decline. Play results in a first down.
One of the things John Klasik was telling us about Zach Dysert was that he throws such a catchable ball. You can see that lining up off sides right at the bottom of your screen right there. Easy call for the officials. You can't make those type of mistakes and get a very good passing offense, additional opportunities.
So a first down. Dysert, little dump off. This is Harwell again. tackled quickly after a gain of a pair. Bradley Roby coming from his corner spot to bring him down.
When we asked Don Treadwell the other day, what is his balance going to look like on offense? We know they were a very good passing team, and as you mentioned, Eric, they struggled against the run. And he said last year it was just a matter of us doing what we did best, which was throwing the football. And you can see early on they still have that same type of focus. If you want to make growth as a program, you're going to have to be able to run the ball, especially when the opportunity dictates that in short yardage and the goal line. But right now, Miami having success throwing the football down the field.
The bigger back, Justin Sims, in the backfield next to Dysart. He wants to throw. Slant incomplete. Defended nicely by Travis Howard.
Talked a little earlier about Travis Howard and him having that breakdown on the long pass play, but he is one guy that Urban Meyer said has really improved his game this year. A guy that was actually in a competition with Duran Grant early in fall camp, but he raised his level of play in this last month and separated himself as the starting corner.
3rd down and 5. Miami can get a first down without getting a touchdown. Dysart in trouble. That's Nathan Williams who loses him, and the pass is incomplete. Looking for Sims. Oh, Nathan Williams, almost his first sack in a long time.
It's a strong play by the quarterback, Dysart, right there. You see a defensive end coming in. He's got the sack locked up, but he's got the strength to be able to stay alive and at least get rid of that football to prevent the sack. Most quarterbacks go down, but not only that, he keeps his eyes down the field and nearly completes that to Sims.
This is a true freshman kicker, Caleb Patterson, trying to score for the first time as a college player. Even 24-yard field goals are not easy when you're doing it in front of 110,000 here at Ohio Stadium. Still scoreless in Columbus. Well, almost 7 minutes into the Urban Meyer era. It's time for our Twitter poll for today. Go to btn.com/connect. The question: how many games will the Buckeyes win in 2012 under Urban Meyer? 11 or more, 9 or 10, or 8 or less? Brack, I'll get your thoughts in a moment. Braxton Miller, his second series. He wants the deep ball. It's incomplete. Looking for the speedster, Evan Spencer, who has impressed Urban Meyer and his staff so far in camp.
Yeah, they got a couple of speedsters, him along with Devin Smith, and I like that chance coming out of the turnover on downs, the missed field goal, the fact that they go ahead and take a shot down the football field and get a one-on-one matchup. And I like this. Braxton Miller threw it in a place where either Spencer was going to catch it or nobody else was going to catch it. Every once in a while, you got to go ahead and take those chances.
Miller now 0 for 3 passing. Here's Hyde with the carry. The big fella spins forward to the 23. Let's go to Dave Revson in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Okay, Eric, thanks. Illinois looking very good early on against Western Michigan. Nate Scheelhaus here, 64 yards to Ryan Langford, his first touchdown since 2010. It's 7-0 Illini.
Thanks, Dave. 3rd down and 6. Ohio State their second possession. And Miller completes his first pass of the year. Will it be enough for the first? Evan Spencer looks to be a little bit short.
Yeah, he looks to be a little bit short. Nice job resetting there by Braxton Miller, who's actually looking for Zach Boren, the fullback on the left-hand side of the formation, but he ended up getting tripped. So he reset. Look at the left-hand side. You can see 44 Boren get knocked down. Miller brings his eyes back to the right. I like that development in a quarterback, the fact that he kept his eyes downfield, but they're going to come a little bit short on the first down.
So Ohio State hasn't significantly moved the ball so far in their first 2 possessions. Ben Buchanan will punt it away for the second time. Nunley is back deep. Second fair catch called for and made by Nunley. It's a punt of 39 yards. BTN goes where you want, when you want it, with BTN to Go, presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Watch every football game on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. BTN to Go is available at no extra charge to subscribers who receive BTN through their cable, satellite, or participating video providers. To learn more, visit btntogo.com. It's also available in the App Store. Zach Dysert, what's new? Wants to throw the football. Incomplete, looking for Andy Cruz. Cruz bobbled it along the sideline.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the strength for this Miami offense, and they're continuing to stay with that strength, passing the football. Haven't really seen a whole lot of success running, and you can see even in this formation, they go with an open set, empty set, no backs in the backfield. They definitely want to see if Dysert can have some success throwing the football down the field.
5-receiver formation. Dysert has time and has a man. That's Scott running free. Scott's got a chance. What kind of speed does he have? Down at the 10. Bradley Roby runs him down. Maybe the only Buckeye who has the speed to catch him.
You got to give a little credit here to that Miami offensive line. We talked about the little last-minute shuffling that's going on, but look at the time that Dysert has, and he gets this ball out of his hands on timing. He puts it right on the hands of DeJuan Scott, and he delivers another strike, gets into the open field and makes a big play here for the Red Hawks.
So Miami, they now have pass plays of 42 yards, and that one, 58 yards. Jameer Westbrook checks into the game in the backfield. He's number 5. Dysert has him open in the flat, overshoots him. That had been 6. No doubt about it, that was a touchdown. The pass too strong.
There was another miscommunication in the secondary right there. Westbrook went out to the flat. There was not an Ohio State defender within 10 yards. And as you mentioned, that would have been another touchdown. I think Luke Fickell's going to have to get his defense together next time they come to the sidelines. And you can see Dysert knows that he had a touchdown. Luke Fickell's got to get back with his defense and say, guys, we got to do a better job communicating. We're giving up too many big plays.
Ball's on the 10. Miami cannot get a first down without getting into the end zone, so it's 2nd and goal. Dysert right side, pass is complete. David Frazier with the catch.
Zach Dysert is lucky that he got this football off right away, because 54, John Simon was coming from his backside, actually got to him, but the timing worked out for the Red Hawks to be able to get that ball out of his hands.
3rd down and goal. Dysert wants the quick snap. Dysert into the end zone. Caught. Incomplete. It was Harwell who had it. He hit the ground. The ball popped out, and it is incomplete.
And that's a ball that Nick Harwell usually does not drop. You mentioned that he ended up having 97 catches a year ago, the most accomplished receiver by far for the Red Hawks. Nice job of keeping himself alive, did Dysert, and that ball will normally be caught right there by Nick Harwell. He came wide open in the back of the end zone.
He actually probably had it for about a full second, but then he hits the ground and the ball pops loose, and it is incomplete. So Don Treadwell's team will have to settle for another field goal attempt. They just missed one a moment ago. Red Hawks want a timeout. We'll take it with them. Back to Columbus in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. Miami has just called a timeout after that last incompletion back to the end zone.
Don Treadwell likely trying to give the replay officials a chance to take another look at it. You can see that Harwell has the ball, but he never makes the move to secure it. Then it hits the ground, and by the time he corrals it, now his shoulder pads are out of bounds. And Dysert thought that that was a touchdown.
Now disappointment there. Now Dysert is the holder for Caleb Patterson, the true freshman kicker from South Carolina. Just missed from 24. This is from 22. Now remember, Dysert is the holder. He's the quarterback. They go through with the kick, and now Caleb Patterson is a 50% kicker in his college career. He makes it from 22 yards. And Don Treadwell's Miami University Red Hawks, they lead the Buckeyes 3-0.
Engineered for speed, accuracy, and responsiveness. At Quicken Loans, we're engineered to amaze. Maybe that's why for 2 years in a row, J.D. Power & Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in customer satisfaction in the United States. And we all know what happens when you're ranked highest, right? Call or go to QuickenLoans.com to discover why our mortgage experience is engineered to amaze.
My customers love the variety at Speedway. Like our ready-to-go pizza by the slice, you won't find that at most places.
It's all here at Speedway, from fresh from the grill favorites to our delicious pizza by the slice.
I love the fact that customers can come into my Speedway any time of the day, and we've got great food choices.
We're so sure you'll love our fresh from the oven pizza by the slice. If you buy 2, you get a slice free.
At Speedway, we're always committed to great value. You've got my word on it.
We're on your way, the convenience stores of Speedway.
It is really early here at the Horseshoe, not even 10 minutes into this one, but the Miami University Redhawks have come to town and they have dominated Urban Meyer's Ohio State Buckeyes so far. Total yards hadn't really even been close. Ohio State down 3-0.
Well, Miami's made a couple of big plays on offense, and then we haven't seen Ohio State get past their own 26-yard line on offense right now. This is the drive where Braxton Miller needs to be able to put a long one together, get some confidence, get everybody going, get in that rhythm. That's when I'd like to see that get a little bit more up-tempo and keep that Miami defense on its heels.
Kick from the 35-yard line goes into the end zone, and we will have a touchback. The ball will go out to the 25. Now, Rack, let's talk about Braxton Miller. He has not led Ohio State past the 30-yard line so far.
They struggle a little bit in the passing game, and we saw it back in the spring that they put a lot of work into the passing game. They've continued that into fall camp, but talking to offensive coordinator Tom Herman yesterday, he mentioned
There's no foul on the play. First down.
That they still want to be a powerful running team, and that will probably change a little bit more once they get Jordan Hall back into the lineup. But as of right now, they're struggling to throw the football. They really need to rely on Carlos Hyde, get him going in the running game. That will open up the holes for Braxton Miller down the field.
Miller last year had his moments, that's for sure. Hyde next to him in the backfield. They try the right side. Miller, nobody open, tucks it down, and still on his feet. Oh, everything opening up for him. Left side, Miller out across the 40, thrown out of bounds by Dayon Nunley. What a pickup of 17 yards.
That's just outstanding vision right there. That's a scramble play where basically your receivers are just trying to find an open hole down the field, and Braxton Miller just completely reverses the field, and Dayon Nunley might have been the one guy on the Miami defense that he's not going to outrun, and the stiff arm didn't work out for him too well either.
He hasn't perfected the Terrell Pryor stiff arm just yet. So the farthest penetration for Ohio State on offense. Option football, the quarterback Miller keeps it and stumbles forward for 2. Luke Kelly credited with that tackle. Second down and 8.
Let's see, Ohio State's trying to pick up the tempo a little bit. Once they have a couple successful plays, you'll see everybody go a little bit faster.
Hyde stumbles as well. He picks up 2. It'll bring up 3rd down and 6. So the new offensive coordinator for Ohio State is Tom Herman. He's a young guy, and he's getting the chance of a lifetime here at Ohio State.
There's Tom Herman right there. Former Iowa State offensive coordinator, Rice offensive coordinator, basically ran the exact style of offense that Urban Meyer did. Actually studied Urban Meyer's Utah and Florida offenses. That's why it was an easy selection for Coach Meyer. Really simple transition for him.
And a 3rd down and 6 goes incomplete. And Ohio State's going to have to give the football away.
I still think this is a situation that you want to punt. Sometimes you get a little anxious, and in 4th and mid-range, you're getting towards midfield. You might want to take a chance to go for it. I think this is the right call by punting it. Let your experienced punter come out on the field, see if you can't get it pinned down. Let your defense come out and try to get a stop on the Miami offense.
A couple of extremes for Ohio State, senior punter in Ben Buchanan, but a freshman snapper in Bryce Haynes. He's been picture perfect so far. This punt chases Nunley back to the 5-yard line. for some reason, decides to call the fair catch there. It's a punt of 48 yards, no return.
Well, we knew coming into this game that Zach Dysert was such an accomplished passer, and he's made a couple of really big plays in the passing game. This one to Nick Harwell, the other one to DeJuan Scott. We were able to split the defense and get down into Ohio State territory. Those two plays right there have been the difference that have not only put Miami on the scoreboard, but has changed field position in the favor of the Redhawks until we got this punt right here that you talked about, Eric. And Dayon Nunley, once you get on the 10-yard line, you got to let that ball go. Let it go into the end zone and see if you can get a chance to come out to the 20.
Third possession for Miami. They've made it inside the 15 each of their first 2 times with the ball. Not trying to get out of the shadow of their own goal line. This is Justin Semmes for 2. John Simon on the tackle. Ohio State still defensively using number 43, Nathan Williams. He, along with John Simon and Garrett Goebel, are senior leaders, guys who have been through a lot of football games here at Ohio Stadium. Simon's so special. The guy next to him, Jonathan Hankins, got a chance to be great this year. The front wall of Ohio State, that is the strength defensively. Dysert to throw. Has a man. This is Scott again, and it is caught. Ball comes late, loose, and it is incomplete. Once again, a Red Hawk receiver catches the ball and then loses it when making contact with the ground.
Once again, a beautifully delivered ball by Dysert right there. Hits his receiver in stride. But give a lot of credit to Bradley Roby, number 1 right here, who keeps fighting. He sees that he's beat, but this play is not dead until he comes down to the ground. And you can see number 1, Bradley Roby, raking that ball out. Dysert thought he had another one.
And he might have. He had that ball for a while. Hits the ground, and then it comes out. 3rd down and 8. Dysert lobbing one up, nobody home. Closest man to it, Bradley Roby. Did he stay in bounds? He did. It's an Ohio State interception. What a reversal of fortune for Miami. They almost had a big play offensively, and now they turn it over.
And if there's one guy on this Ohio State defense outside of John Simon that you don't want to get him going a little bit, it's Bradley Roby. But this one, I think they're going to take another look at. That left foot was half on the white.
Every play in college football is reviewed, some longer than others.
The ruling on the field is an interception.
Our head referee, Todd Gearlings. Our replay official is Bill Simons. So now it is in the responsibility of Bill Simons. He will take a look to see whether or not Bradley Roby was able to keep a foot in bounds.
Well, it's an excellent play by Roby, basically converting himself from a defensive back to a wide receiver and making a play on this football. But I just think that once he gains possession of this ball, that left foot right there ends up hitting the white. You can see it right there as it backed up. I think that right foot ends up hitting partially on the white. I think this one's going to end up coming back. Take a little zoom in view at Bradley Roby's foot here. You can see that right foot looks like the toes are on the white.
And if this is your first college football game of the year, it's important to remember you need indisputable video evidence to overturn a call that is made on the field. Now, whatever the outcome, couple of gutsy plays from Miami. Backed up the shadow of their own goal line and throwing a couple of deep passes back to back.
Well, you can see Don Treadwell and Zach Dysert, they don't have any problems airing this football out. That was the strength of the team last year. That was still the strength of this team coming in. And they've realized, you know what, if we're going to move the football on this Ohio State defense, we're going to have to do what we do best, which is throwing the ball. Zach Dysert has thrown some excellent footballs, and they've found some opportunities today.
After further review, the receiver had possession of the ball, but first touched out of bounds. Therefore, the pass is incomplete. We will go back. It would be 4th down and 7, or 4th down and 8 at the 7-yard line, and it will be 4th down.
I think they hit a home run with that call.
Yeah, that one was right on. I think it was, as you mentioned, Eric, every play in college football is reviewable, and want to make sure they take another look at it. Ohio State should get the football back with decent field position here.
All right, this is the new emphasis on special teams for Ohio State. Let's see if they go after the punter, Zach Murphy. Murphy gets it off. Not a particularly good kick, but it gets a great roll. Wow, dangerous. Picking up the ball on the bounce, Devin Smith, and he loses a handful of yards. A punt of 45, a loss of 3 on the return.
Yeah, quite a gamble right there by Devin Smith, and I wouldn't be surprised if Urban Meyer has a little conversation with him when he comes over to the sideline, is once it bounces and you don't have a clean play on it, just let that ball go, because it worked out for Ohio State there, but that could easily carry him off his body.
Urban Meyer is looking for playmakers. He's looking for the Percy Harvin, the Jeffrey Demps, the electric players that he had down in Florida. And I think right there, maybe Devin Smith trying to impress the coaching staff a little too much.
They've been trying to make that big play, absolutely.
Miller, little safe pass, incomplete, trying to get it to his fullback, Zach Boren. Boren's role is going to change here in 2012.
It's going to change and it's going to expand. Coming into this game, he's got 1 carry for 2 yards, and they really don't even put any statistics in the media guide for him because he's got 1 carry for 2 yards. He does have 20 receptions. He's usually a pretty good receiver out of the backfield. This ball just a little bit high out of the hands of Zach Boren.
Inside run, Hyde. Gang tackled after a gain of 2. So far, the offense struggling early on here at Ohio Stadium.
Yeah, you can see they're not really getting any kind of yardage. They're having to get their punt team on the field. I think everybody expected that there would be some growing pains. New staff, new style of offense, first time against another team. But you're thinking at some point something's got to click. Somebody's going to have to make a big play to get Ohio State into scoring territory.
They haven't even been across the 50 so far today. Miller wants a bunch, has a man. It is incomplete. Bryson Burris, Johnny on the spot, knocks it away at the last instant. Evan Spencer had a little bit of room, but Burris closed some ground quickly.
That's an excellent job of closing right there by Burris, and you can see him, just like Bradley Roby did on the last one, turn around and be a wide receiver. As this play developed, it looked like Braxton Miller was going to have Spencer wide open. That's just a very good individual play by the safety Burris.
Here in this punt formation, both John Simon and Carlos Hyde, 2 of the stars for Ohio State, are on the field. And that punt will go into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. While we have a quick break in the action, let's go to Dave Revson in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Okay, Eric, Syracuse got a couple early field goals on Northwestern, but the Wildcats have come back. Venric Mark on the punt return, and he is gone. 82 yards, the first punt return for a touchdown for the Wildcats since 2005. They're on top 7-6.
Thanks, Dave. It's going to be interesting first couple of weeks to see how Northwestern does. They're going to be challenged. You got Syracuse, you got Vanderbilt next week.
Yeah, Venric Mark making a little bit of a position change. He's always been a dynamic returner, but going to be in the backfield as well. He is an outstanding football player.
Nick Harwell, another catch, gets out across the 25, a pickup of 7. Harwell, not a big guy, but he is slippery. They say he is very elusive, and it helped him pick up close to 130 yards per game last year. Junior out of Missouri City, Texas. That's the Houston area. Dysert, the only Red Hawk in the backfield. 5 receivers. 3-man rush. Pass is complete to Scott, and he has another Red Hawk first down.
You can see early on in this game that Zach Dysert has had the most success throwing kind of in that 5 to 10 yard range. And if you really looked at Ohio State's depth chart, they're probably the leanest, the thinnest at the linebacker position, or even the least amount of experience. So something to keep your eye on through the rest of the game if Dysert continues to go at the Ohio State linebackers.
Andy Cruz with the catch across the 40 out to the 42.
You can see once again just right along the sidelines right here. Again, a beautifully thrown ball by Dysert. Gets it right along the sideline. Nobody else has been able to make a play on it. Gives himself a very manageable second down situation.
Maybe the final play of our first quarter. Dysert over the middle. Incomplete. Trying to make a one-handed grab is Harwell. He can do that. Not that time. 3rd down and 2.
Again, this is a situation where this Ohio State defense really needs to protect the sticks. Look for Zach Dysert to just try to hit somebody quick coming out of the backfield or his tight end in the left-hand side of the formation, just running that 3 or 4 yard route to be able to pick up the first down.
Westbrook next to him in the backfield. Caught close to the sticks, but I think Nathan Williams may have saved the first down. Westbrook with the catch, but he's going to be really close to that line, and I don't think he got enough.
Excellent break right there by Nathan Williams. The ever so versatile defensive end is able to come out and make a great play on the back coming out in space.
3-0 Miami at the end of the first quarter. Start of the second quarter, the first 15 minutes not exactly as scripted by Urban Meyer and his new staff.
I've seen his offense struggle. He's seen the defense, which was supposed to be the strength of the team, give up 165 yards through the air in one quarter. Definitely room for improvement on both sides of the ball.
Devin Smith makes the fair catch, 43-yard punt, and Ohio State will have the ball for the first time, heading in a different direction. Maybe that'll make a difference.
Looking for every little bit that you can right now. We talked about the offense struggling a little bit. Braxton Miller has found a couple of holes in the running game, but they just haven't been able to find that one big completion that's been able to open things up for him in the passing game.
Just in case you're wondering, Ohio State hasn't lost a game to another team from the state of Ohio since 1921. It's been a while. Still a lot of football left to be played. Carlos Hyde, his best run of the day, out across the 30. And now you can hear that there's 110,000 here.
Yeah, Naquara was pretty quiet for quite some time, and I always talked about the fact that they've got to be able to get that running game going, and now you found a nice crease here for Carlos Hyde to just be able to get north and south and be able to move the chains for the Buckeyes.
Quick snap. Miller keeps it. Miller knocked out of bounds. He's taken some hits so far today. DJ Brown, his father, played here at Ohio State. He's credited with that tackle.
You know what? I like the aggressiveness of Braxton Miller. There are certain times, yes, that he needs to be safe and run out of bounds or slide. But the fact that, you know what? Urban Meyer said he wants his guys to go out and be angry and play aggressive, and he's doing that at the quarterback position as well.
Rack, we've seen exclusively Carlos Hyde as the tailback. This time they fake it to Hyde, and it's going to be a pass caught by Corey Brown. Ohio State, their biggest gain of the day.
Eric, what was one of the things that I told you? Get a couple of running plays, and all of a sudden that opens things up in the pass game. You had a good run by Carlos Hyde. Braxton Miller breaks out using his legs, and all of a sudden you had a big hole for Corey Brown in the passing game.
And look at how quickly they're up to the line of scrimmage and going for the end zone. It is! No, did he catch it? Yes! Touchdown! Devin Smith, the catch of the year. That more than likely will be the best catch we see at Ohio Stadium all season.
Unbelievable. Urban Meyer was looking for somebody at the wide receiver position to step up and separate themselves. I think that catch right there, snagging it out of the air with one hand, would qualify as somebody stepping up. Beautiful play there by Ohio State.
Drew Basil, extra point is true, and Ohio State takes a 7-3 lead, courtesy of the sophomore from Massillon, Ohio, Devin Smith, with a catch of a lifetime.
Well, a lot of times as a wide receiver, you don't go up in the air thinking that that's what you're going to do. That's how you're going to bring the football down. Sometimes you go up, and that's the only opportunity that you have. Look at the vertical, number one, and number two, the stretch by the right hand to be able to go up and get it. And you talk about getting your quarterback excited. That's the drive that the Buckeyes needed to get that tempo going, to get the team into the game, and get the crowd back into this ball game.
You mentioned tempo. How does 83 yards in 63 seconds sound to you? Scoring drive brought to you by Speedway, and it was a speedy 63 seconds. 4 plays, 83 yards.
That's exactly what I'd said. They needed to get a couple of big plays to be able to take the top off the defense. And then you saw Braxton Miller, okay, let's get this hurry up. Let's get this tempo going a little bit. But they hadn't had any success up to that point. Saw the big Carlos Hyde run, saw the throw to Corey Brown, and then all of a sudden a beautiful one-handed catch by Devin Smith in the back of the end zone.
I think now the Urban Meyer era has officially begun. That'll be a touchback ball at the 25-yard line. Let's go to Dave Revson in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Okay, Eric, thanks. Penn State on the board for the first time in the Bill O'Brien era. Matt McGloin, 6 yards to Bill Belton. First career touchdown for the new starting tailback, 7-zip.
So they're off and running in State College. Bill O'Brien and his Nittany Lions trying to figure out those Ohio Bobcats. Ohio State taking on a team from the Mid-American Conference. And so far, the Miami Redhawks, led by Zach Dysert, they have been throwing. 22 passes already for Dysert. Make it 23. That is incomplete. Ball bounced in front of Harwell.
You see, part of the reason why he's a very good passer, and this is a good passing team, is on that play-action play, he comes out after he fakes the running back. He gets the ball out of his hands right away. To me, that's the sign of an experienced quarterback, because as you let time develop, that gives the defense time to close the gap. So that's the reason why, in my opinion, Dysert's been so successful in his past and in this game, is he gets that football out of his hands.
Nick Harwell now leaves the game. He's normally Dysert's favorite receiver. Touch pass is deflected and incomplete. C.J. Barnett almost had an interception.
This Ohio State defense has changed their mentality as far as when it comes to interceptions, especially in the secondary. They feel like if the ball touches your hands, if you've got an opportunity to break it up, then you should intercept it. That's a missed opportunity right there by C.J. Barnett. That ball should have been going the other way for Ohio State.
The junior from Dayton missing an opportunity to change things up and get the ball back to Ohio State. Now it's 3rd and 10. 2 tight end formation. Dysert on the run, complete. Andy Cruz could not hang on. He was wrapped up by a Buckeye defender and couldn't hold on long enough. It's ruled incomplete.
You know, Andy Cruz has generally been a pretty dependable receiver. You can see right at the last minute that ball comes out.
That's not a catch.
Looks as though he tried to tuck that football away, but you can see right at the last second there's some contact and the ball comes out once it hits the turf.
Zach Webby to punt for the Red Hawks. Billy Brown to receive for the Buckeyes.
There's a flag down on the field. Line drive kick fielded on the run by Corey Brown. Punt of 37 yards, but there is that flag down. And it's going to go against Miami. Trying to figure out whether or not Ohio State wants to take this penalty or decline it.
Illegal shift, kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed at the end of the kick. First down, Ohio State.
All right, Ohio State trying to build on their last touchdown drive. We'll see how they do when we come back to Ohio State. This October, the creators of BTN's award-winning original series, The Journey, will launch the show that will give fans an unprecedented look at the student athletes and coaches throughout the season. The Journey Big Ten Football 2012, presented by Best Buy. It premieres October 3rd on BTN. Stunning program, unlimited almost access. Just terrific. Ohio State, 4 plays, 83 yards on their last drive. On the ground, Carlos Hyde powers to midfield.
That right there is what Carlos Hyde brings to this offense, that physicality, that big style of running back that he comes in at 230 pounds. He's able to break tackles and pick up extra yards after contact.
Everything has changed here in the second quarter offensively for Ohio State. Play fake, quick hitter, caught by Brown. Out across the 40 to the 37.
Excellent. Just talked about that on the last drive for Miami with Dysert getting the football out of his hands. Exactly what Braxton Miller does. Play fake, gets it out of his hands. His wide receiver's wide open. Let him make plays in space.
They are playing so quickly. Inside run and Hyde. Down to the 27. That's going to be close to another first down if it isn't a first down.
If you're Braxton Miller, you continue to push the tempo right now. This is where you're going to have the biggest advantage. You get the defense tired, your offensive line starts to get excited because they can see the progress that you're making, and that opens up big holes down the field for the playmakers.
Miller again looking for the big play. Stoneburner with the catch. Out of bounds at the 9-yard line. First catch of the year for Stoneburner.
And Eric, you mentioned earlier that Stoneburner has officially been moved to that wide receiver position, and this is part of the reason because he's so good at adjusting to the football out in space.
And this play doesn't go anywhere fast. Wes Williams blows it up, tackling Braxton Miller close to the line of scrimmage. So it's second down and goal, and another quick setup for Ohio State offensively. Stoneburner playing his familiar tight end spot. They don't give it to him. Instead, it's a run, and Hyde to the 5. Third down and goal.
And bring to the 5-yard line, third down and goal, Ohio State.
True freshman Bryante Dunn has checked into the game. He wears number 25. Right side rollout, touchdown Ohio State. Corey Billy Brown. lines up for extra points quickly nowadays. Junior Basil, point after touchdown. And that is good. Miami had been on top 3-0. And then the second quarter happened. Ohio State wakes up. Touchdown pass. Braxton Miller finds Corey Brown for 6. Ohio State on top of Miami 14-3, 11:03 remaining in this one. This is the 6th year of Big Ten football on Big Ten Network. It has been quite a ride. And let's go back in the Wayback Machine. October 24th, 2009. What a memorable game this was. Ricky Stanzi, an Ohio native. He finds Marvin McNutt. Touchdown pass time expires. And Iowa defeats Michigan State the very last play of the game.
Yeah, that was an excellent football game. You got a lot of guys on both of those teams that have continued their football careers on in the next level, and well, that's the way to go down right there. Huge pass right at the end of the game for a touchdown. Marvin McNutt made a lot of those plays in his career at Iowa.
How about Michigan State yesterday? It's always nice to see a Spartan tailback get those 44 carries in one game. They had that win over Boise State.
Well, and Le'Veon Bell was impressive last night, and I think a lot of people expected him to have that breakout year as that featured tailback for him. And boy, did he get his season kicked off in the right fashion.
Returnable kickoff. Dajuan Scott around the right side, steps out of bounds. He's out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Let's go down to Lisa Byington. Lisa, what's going on?
Eric, about midway through the first quarter, this Buckeye defense, all 11 of them didn't go to their position coaches. They all had to sit and listen to Mike Vrabel for about 2 to 3 minutes in very colorful conversation. He told his defensive line, look, Miami wants to throw on the edges, therefore they're going to move the pocket. He looked at his secondary, says you have to cover and tackle. He said this has become a pass-happy game. This is not going to happen all afternoon.
Thank you, Lisa. On first down, that rare Miami Red Hawk run. Robert Williams, walk-on from Cincinnati, went to Elder High School, picks up 3 yards.
You know, and take Lisa's point one step further, Ohio State has really been trying to play defense by getting pressure just from the 4 guys up front and then playing back with that back 7, the linebackers in the secondary. So I wouldn't be surprised if Miami continues to have success throwing the football to see a little bit more pressure come from the linebackers in the way of blitzing.
Just saw number 43, Nathan Williams. He's played the majority of this game. Pass is high. It is caught. There is a flag down on the field. Nick Harwell catching the ball close to the midfield stripe.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 men in the backfield, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
So wipe off the 18-yard gain. Let's go to Dave Repson in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Eric, thanks. After a Chichi Araguzzo interception, first play from scrimmage for Northwestern, Kane Coulter to Venrick Mark. Nice catch, second touchdown of the game for him. Cats back on top, 14-13.
Thanks, Dave. It's going to be interesting. Kane Coulter. This year, quarterback job is all his. He's got the same skill set as Braxton Miller here in Columbus. Dysert wants to throw. Pass is complete. Looking for some running room. Scott out across the 35 to the 36, close to the first down marker. Buckeyes gave up more than they would have liked to pick up of 11.
I'll tell you what, John Klasik, the offensive coordinator for Miami, is doing a good job of mixing up the variety of pass plays that he's throwing at this Ohio State defense. They really can't narrow down exactly what they're trying to do. They'll first go downfield, they'll take a shot a little bit more towards the secondary, and then they'll run that bubble screen. So he's doing a good job of mixing things up for the OSU defense.
Third and a long one. Incomplete. Harwell not able to hang on.
And Harwell's uncharacteristically dropped a couple of passes today that he normally wouldn't. And I think there's a few drives here for Miami that would have continued, but there's been a lot of dropped passes and what I would say are catchable balls for the Red Hawks.
Second straight 3 and out forced by the Buckeye defense. Zach Murphy to punt it away to Corey Brown. Buckeyes may come after this one. Now they throttle it down. High kick, fair catch called for and made. Dangerous. Buckeyes colliding into each other. Timeout on the field. When we come back, Buckeyes with the ball. First quarter, Braxton Miller has figured it out, Derek.
Yeah, no doubt that he struggled in that first quarter. Gets some great help right here by Devin Smith, and as we saw just a moment ago, finds Corey Brown coming right out of the backfield. And you mentioned to change the side of the field for Ohio State's offense maybe makes a difference. I think 5 out of 5 in the second quarter made quite a bit of difference.
5 for 5, 99 yards and a pair of scores here in the second quarter. Miller wants to throw it. Into coverage, incomplete. Corey Brown, one of the deep threats, defended nicely by Nunley.
They talked about Nunley being their best cover corner for the Redhawks, and he's step for step right there in coverage. And actually, I thought that Braxton Miller should have ran that football. It was wide open, but he tries to take a shot downfield for Corey Brown, but great coverage right there by Dayon Nunley.
A big difference from a year ago. Miller has been protected so far today, hadn't suffered a sack. He was sacked 39 times last season. Hyde stoned after a pickup of 2. Colin Boucher, junior from Dayton, Ohio, with the tackle.
That was an excellent job of filling the hole by Colin Boucher. He realized that it was run, and he charged up to the line of scrimmage and made that play right in the middle of the hole. That's a sign of a really good linebacker. You don't wait for the back to come to you. You go and fill that hole.
Now Hyde is going to be split out wide. He's the bottom of your screen, number 34. Stoneburner, the converted tight end, is in the slot right side. Third down pass is caught. First down, Corey Brown.
And we talked about the struggles at the wide receiver position, and of course that touchdown by Devin Smith was outstanding, but Corey Brown is a guy that's really elevated his level of play, especially since Urban Meyer challenged these wide receivers. You're starting to see that pay off here in the second quarter.
Inside run, a little bit of shake there for Hyde to pick up 3 yards. Rack, when you played at college at Minnesota, there was a coaching change when you were there. How quickly are you able to learn new terminology and new schemes?
Well, the difference is a lot of times now these coaches come in so early and they get things instituted. And then especially you got this spring football now, which I think is really advanced since I played. These guys are having the ability to learn a lot quicker.
Braxton Miller looks like a different player in this his sophomore year. Makes a good decision and runs for a first down, a pickup of 8.
Yeah, he's such a threat coming out of the backfield, and I think that's going to continue all season long. Some people stepping back might say, well, don't you have to try to keep Braxton Miller healthy? But you also got to remember that Urban Meyer is very comfortable with their backup quarterback in Kenny Guyton. So he feels like, you know what, if Braxton Miller is comfortable running, I'm going to let him run the football because he is a game changer for us on offense.
Play action. Ball is ripped away, loose on the ground, and Ohio State keeps it. It's Miller who recovers his own fumble. I guess if anyone knows where it's going to go, it's the guy who dropped it.
That's just an outstanding play right there by Braxton Miller. The awareness to find that football. You can see he's just trying to step up in the pocket, and the ball gets batted out of his hands, but he's the one that runs up about 5 or 6 yards to get the ball recovered back for the Buckeyes.
It was J.T. Swanson who forced the fumble. But Miller recovers. It's second down and 4. Zach Bourne, one of the fullbacks on the field right now. We're told that maybe he would carry a couple of times. Haven't seen that so far. Designed quarterback run. Miller with room inside the 15, down to the 9. $33 yards for Miller.
And Eric, you were just talking about Zach Bourne potentially getting some carries. Watch Zach Bourne right here as he comes through. He's going to lead through this hole and get an outstanding block for Braxton Miller. Right there, that opens up the hole. All kinds of green grass for Braxton Miller to burst through the hole and get inside the 10-yard line.
Another big play for the Buckeyes on offense. Now trying to punch it in. Carlos Hyde into the game as the tailback. Let's see if the Buckeyes play some power football. Quick snap, and Hyde forces his way inside the 5, down to the 4. Hyde's got a body that reminds you of a lot of tailbacks in Ohio State history. Guys like Keith Byers, even Raymond Harris, Antonio Pittman. And 235 pounds of energy.
Just a huge asset, too. Once you get inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line, now Tom Herman has a lot of opportunities on who he can put the ball in the hands.
Hyde, touchdown, Ohio State. First rushing touchdown of the year for the Buckeyes. Basil, a perfect 3 for 3. A 73-yard touchdown drive, and this time the Buckeyes show what they can do on the ground. 61 of the 73 yards coming on the ground, capped off by this touchdown run by Carlos Hyde. Power football by the powerful Ohio State Buckeyes. They lead Miami 21-3. Brackett's been impressive this second quarter.
Yeah, and Tom Herman said that although it's a spread offense, this is a physical running style of offense, and you're getting a chance to see it here in the second quarter. And you get a guy like Carlos Hyde, as you mentioned, Eric, at 230, 235 pounds. In my opinion, you get inside the 10 or 5-yard line, you just dial it up with him, let the big boys up front go to work, and let Carlos Hyde pound your way into the end zone.
It's the touchdown a moment ago. Nothing really complex about it.
No, just great blocking up front by that offensive line. And again, give Carlos Hyde a head of steam. I take him in the battle against the linebacker when he gets about an 8 or 10-yard head start.
21 points in the last 8.5 minutes for Ohio State. Another touchback ball would be moved to the 25-yard line. Today's United States Marine Corps Player of the Game, it's Ohio State senior punter Ben Buchanan. He graduated back in June. He's got a GPA of 3.53. He's still enrolled now in a master's program, sports management. He is our United States Marine Corps Leader of the Game. This is a guy who does a lot of wonderful things and helps out, travels down to Honduras. He's been with Habitat for Humanity, part of 3 different medical missions to Honduras. Ben Buchanan, our United States Marine Corps Leader of the Game.
And I'll tell you this, Eric, I saw him punting in practice on Thursday out of the end zone about 55 yards. He might have a future on Sundays.
Good open field tackle, Bradley Roby. He stones Jamire Westbrook, a pickup of just a yard.
And that, to me, is the sign of a great corner. We know Bradley Roby's a speedster. We know he's great in coverage. But I want to see a corner come up and stick a running back coming out of the backfield. It's exactly what he got a chance to see right there. Both of these corners, Roby and Howard, are not afraid to go up and make a tackle in the running game.
From suburban Atlanta, Bradley Roby, the fastest Ohio State Buckeye. And that's saying something. Urban Meyer wants to have a really fast team. And there's talent here in the state of Ohio. Simon, good pressure. Dysert gets the pass off. It is Cruz with the catch. John Simon almost getting his first sack of the year.
Yeah, get used to seeing that. John Simon in the opposing team's backfield. He's just so quick. There's no way to block him. I mean, you see him try to go upfield. He's got such a quick move inside, and Dysert knows that he's got to get the football out of his hands. Otherwise, 54 is going to be planted on my chest.
It's the only time you won't see this guy moving around, taking a playoff right now, just catching his wind. 3rd down and 5. Dysert, plenty of time. Nobody open. Now late, a man comes open, and it's going to be a first down. Westbrook with the catch, pushed out of bounds by Duran Grant.
See, Nathan Williams was playing defensive end on that play, but he actually dropped back in coverage, so the Buckeyes were only rushing 3. And this, in my opinion, is the reason why Miami is doing so well, is because their 5 up front are able to block Ohio State's 3 when they drop out. You're giving Dysert, a very accomplished passer, a lot of time to find a receiver by the first down markers.
Another completion to Andy Cruz. Cruz, the senior from Cincinnati, went to Turpin High School. There's a lot of Red Hawks who have Ohio ties, played high school football here in the Buckeye State. This game means so much to them, getting a chance to play at Ohio Stadium.
A lot of times these guys have chips on their shoulders because maybe Ohio State didn't recruit them, and they want to be able to come back in the stadium and show some of these coaches, likely not these on this staff right here, that, you know, maybe you missed on me. Maybe I should have gotten that offer to the Buckeyes.
Trying to go short over the middle and get a first down, and they're going to be a little bit shy. 3rd down and 1.
The Redhawks continue to stay on schedule. You hear that so often used when talking about an offense, but on first down, Dysert and company are picking up 3, 4, 5 yards, giving themselves 2nd and medium. Same situation there. Now you got 3rd and short. A lot of opportunities for Dysert to be able to pick up a first down.
Dysert looks one way, goes the other, and completes it to his tight end, Dustin White. White's first catch, and it's plenty enough for the first down.
And again, just great protection by Miami's offensive line. They have no pressure coming in by the defense, and so it allows these receivers time to get into open field, and Dysert's a great thrower.
And they say the ball comes loose late. Didn't have it long enough, so White doesn't hang on, and it's 4th down and 1.
Excellent break right there for the Buckeyes.
Ball rose into the end zone and through the end zone, touchback. It's a punt of 51 yards, but a net of just 31. Now stay tuned for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Dave, Jerry, and Howard will be along from our Chicago studio with scores and highlights from all of today's action. Already 2 games in the books around the Big Ten. Triple overtime win.
Triple overtime for my Gophers.
And of course, Michigan State beating a ranked Boise State team yesterday.
That's been a great start so far for the Big Ten Conference, and I always love the fact that we're back into college football season. Get Dave, Jerry, and Howard back at halftime. Looking forward to it.
All right, Ohio State with the ball. Let's see what their 2-minute offense looks like. They've scored each of the last 3 times they've had the football. Miller, nowhere to go. Wes Williams brings him down with some force. Williams, the junior from Houston, with a loss of 3.
Talking with Jay Peterson, defensive coordinator from Miami, we knew that Wes Williams was the best pass rusher, and Braxton Miller was just trying to find an opening in that defense, but good defensive play right there by Williams to be able to get Miller on the ground.
It's considered a running play, so no sack. Buckeyes haven't officially given up a sack so far in this first half. Complete over the middle. Out close to the 30-yard line, just short of the first down marker. It's Corey Brown.
Most coaches
have had a better second half than first half.
Oh yeah, they've had a really good showing, Eric, and most offensive coaches will tell you get to 2nd and long. Your goal is to be able to cut half of that and get back into a manageable situation. Ohio State has done that.
Good athletic ability there by Braxton Miller. Almost sacked by Williams. He gets it over to Stoneburner for a first down. So Stoneburner now with a pair of grabs. Senior from right here in Columbus. Clock stopped, 1:20 left to play here in the first half. Miller in trouble. Oh, dangerous, just throws it up for grabs. Is this live? It is. It's a live football. Miami has it. Or has Ohio State jumped on? And now a flag is down on the field. Braxton Miller, what was that all about? There wasn't a whistle. Didn't appear to be that there was a stoppage of play. That ball was live.
You can see the officials are having a conversation about what exactly happened. There's a number of things that went on, an apparent incomplete pass or a fumble, a penalty. Let's get the call here from Todd Gearlings.
The quarterback was hit while throwing. He attempted to throw a forward pass. Therefore, we have intentional grounding on the offense. It will be a spot foul. Loss of down will be 4th down.
Well, a brain cramp for Braxton Miller. I guess silver lining for him, at least Ohio State still has the ball.
Well, a quarterback, his instinct once everything starts to break down is let's get rid of the football. But at that situation, you almost have to just take the sack because that could have turned out really badly for Ohio State.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 21. After the penalty, 2nd down and 21. Clock is stopped with 1:09 left to play. Ohio State has all 3 timeouts remaining here in this first half. Designed run for Miller, and Miller out across the 45, still on his feet, tackled from behind after picking up a 1st down. Rack, this could be one of those new rules about helmets popping off.
There's no foul on the play. Number 95's helmet came off during play, and he did not participate after that.
So the thought was that if Bryson Albright's helmet came off and he didn't stop, he continued to play, that would have been an unsportsmanlike, a personal foul on him that would have been tacked on to the end of the play.
That's a new rule this year around all of college football. Catch is made by Zach Bourne. It's a pickup of 4. Now down to 48 seconds left here in the first half, and Ohio State uses their first timeout. And while we have the Ohio State timeout, let's take a look at the changes in the rule book here in 2012.
Yeah, and most of these rule changes are, again, for player safety. We've already seen the kickoffs moved up to the 35-yard lines, and touchbacks come out on just kickoffs. Now, touchbacks will come out to the 25-yard line. And as you saw on that last play, when Bryson Albright's helmet came off, he has got to go out for one play, and it doesn't matter who it is. And then leaping over blockers on punt blocks is now prohibited. So you can't have a guy come in to those guys that are trying to protect the punter and jump over the top in effort to block the punt. Again, all focused on player safety.
Buckeyes still with 2 timeouts to work with here in this first half. Now to work on 2-minute offense. Already up 21-3. Miller, dump off, catch and tackle right at the 40-yard line, 42-yard line. Pat Hinkle out of Cleveland St. Ignatius with the tackle. 3rd down and short. Tons of time, and Miller says, you're going to give me the first down, I'll take it, steps out of bounds and stops the clock.
You really want to get Braxton Miller out on the edge. Anytime you get a 3rd and short situation, you got so many opportunities. He was trying to find a big play down the field, but I like right at the last second realized, you know what, let's just get this first down and give us a fresh set of downs.
Four receivers in the game and a fullback in Zach Boren. Miller wants a bunch, has a man wide open. The pass is late and incomplete. Evan Spencer was wide open for a moment, but then the defense caught up when the pass wasn't a perfect spiral.
Yeah, he just didn't have enough pace on it. Of course, he was rolling out to his left side away from his strong side. And in order to get that one in there, he would have had to throw a bullet. You can see that one was wobbling quite a bit, gave the defense time to react.
Sean Dupuis with a nice defensive play to knock the ball away from Spencer. 16 seconds left to play in the second quarter. Behind Michael Thomas, true freshman from Los Angeles.
Another poorly thrown ball right there by Braxton Miller. And once you get into this spot on the field, Urban Meyer knows that Michael Thomas was wide open. Now you're just trying to get yourself in position to be able to get a field goal attempt with just 12 seconds left in the half.
Movement on the line. That'll go against Ohio State. Appears to be Reed Fragel.
Ball start. Offense. Number 52. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
I thought it was 77.
See bottom of your screen, Reed Fragel, the right tackle, is the one that just gets a little bit ahead of himself. There was a lot of talking going on and a lot of time that elapsed, and those offensive linemen get a little excited. They're ready to get back in their position to protect.
Third and 15. Miller almost sacked by Williams. Trying to make something out of nothing. Throws it up for grabs, and it is caught! Flag down on the field, but the catch made by Evan Spencer. If it stands, a gain of 44.
Ohio State, their second. This is a 30-second timeout.
44-yard catch. Evan Spencer with the grab.
And I like the fact that they took a shot downfield. We've seen how athletic these wide receivers are, being able to get up and make a play on the football. Excellent job by Evan Spencer going up over the top. And if there's anything on that play, it looks like defense to me.
That penalty is declined.
Now the flag down on the field was defensive pass interference on Dupuis. Obviously it was declined, and Ohio State has the ball with 3 seconds remaining in the first half at the 1-yard line. Rack, what do you do?
This is a tough call because if you do try to go with a running play and you get stuffed, you don't have enough time for a timeout. So in my opinion, you might have to try to take something, try to hit a back out of the backfield, maybe hit Zach Bourne coming out quickly. I don't think you have enough time to run the ball into the end zone because if you get stuffed, there's not enough time to call a timeout.
But do you kick the field goal or do you go for the touchdown?
Man, this is a tough situation. I might go for the touchdown right here. You built up a little bit of leads, 21-3. And it looks like that's the case, but offensive coming back on the field.
They're going to go for the touchdown. 3 seconds left here in the first half. So after seeing the formation, Don Treadwell calls a timeout.
Well, you saw Ohio State run that little mini huddle and came up to the line of scrimmage really quickly. I think it's a smart call by Don Treadwell. Call a timeout, make sure your defense is aligned properly, make sure you got the right personnel on the field to match up with what Ohio State's bringing out.
Now, does that change Urban Meyer's thinking? Now do you kick the field goal?
No, you already came on the field, keep it going, and I like what we're talking about, the fact that his offense has found some momentum in the second quarter. This could really set the team off for coming back out in the second half if they can get this ball in again for the touchdown. Closer ball game, maybe you bring the field goal unit on.
Hide behind Miller. Keep the 230-pound Hyde out of the end zone, and that'll do it for our first half.
Ruling on the field as the runner was short of the goal line. That's the end of the second quarter.
That's one of the reasons why I thought they needed to try to run a pass play, because if you get stopped, you don't have any time to stop the clock. Carlos Hyde hadn't been slowed down once you get inside the 5-yard line. Great play right there by Miami's defense.
So the Red Hawks stiffen and go to the locker room with a bit of momentum. They still are down 21-3. Stay tuned for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Dave, Jerry, and Howard, they're coming up next.
Y'all can't touch us. Recognize shorty. Matter of fact, I'm tired of talking to you. Drop and give me 40.
BTN football is presented by the United States Marine Corps. Ohio State and Miami playing the first game of the year. Ohio State on top of the Red Hawks by a score of 21-3. Lisa Byington is standing by with Urban Meyer. Lisa.
A few growing pains with your offense there in the first quarter, but you found a balanced attack in the second. What happened? What clicked?
Yeah, it was bad to watch. That was hard for everybody to watch, and I'm not sure it was, for a variety of reasons. They defended a certain formation real well. We didn't get out of it soon enough. And then Braxton, we had to run him a little bit. I was trying not to just flat run him, but that kind of opened things up a little bit in the second quarter.
3 points on the board for Miami, but Dysart has almost 200 passing yards. What do you need to do defensively to slow him down?
Yeah, he's a good thrower. I don't feel the, we got to rotate defensive linemen. I don't feel like we're hitting him. If you're going to throw a pass, you should pay the price. And right now, he's not paying the price.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, let's show you the very last play of the first half. Ohio State had the ball first and goal from the 1. They decided, instead of kicking a field goal, to go for it. And this is Carlos Hyde, who just has no chance. Try and go over the top, and he doesn't make it there. Take a closer look, and it's a great call.
Remember, this was after Don Treadwell called a timeout to make sure he had the right defensive personnel. So once Ohio State came to the line, that Miami defense was not shocked by what they were seeing. Nice defensive stand there by the Red Hawks.
Let's take a look at our first half stats presented by 5 Hour Energy. First quarter yards dominated by Miami. Second quarter yards, almost 300 of them for the Buckeyes, just 38 for the Red Hawks. And in that very last category, bottom line, red zone drives and touchdowns, big difference. Red Hawks got in the red zone twice, had to settle for 1 field goal. That's all they got. In Ohio State, they get in the red zone 3 times, 2 touchdowns. The last time they made it to the red zone, you just saw Carlos Hyde not making it over the top.
Yeah, and the Buckeyes were much better on third down there. 56% against only 20 for Miami of Ohio. That had a lot to do with their success in the second quarter.
And right now, we're going to kick it off from the 35 with raindrops falling down here at the Horseshoe. Returnable kick. Ohio State starts from the 10-yard line. And out to the 35-yard line goes Armani Reeves. 26 yards on his first touch as a college player. It's been a cloudy day. But now for the first time, rain is falling here at Ohio Stadium. Just spitting, nothing significant.
Maybe a little bit better for the players, though, because it was about 90 or 95 degrees and sunny yesterday here in Columbus. But for players having all those pads on, they probably would prefer this 82 degrees.
Corey Brown comes into the backfield, and he's going to be the pitchman on the option. Doesn't get it as Braxton Miller keeps it. Miller off to the races. Stutter step. He's got a chance. Touchdown. There is a flag down on the field. Does it hold up? Buckeyes seem to think that it will.
There's play the
We apologize. Microphone is cutting in and out on Todd Gerlings. No flag. Flag just fell out of the pocket of one of the officials, so a touchdown, Braxton Miller. 6 more points for Ohio State.
Talking about explosive coming out of the locker room. That was a picture-perfect option execution right there by Braxton Miller in the offense.
The explosive Ohio State offense continues to put up some numbers, led by their quarterback, Braxton Miller.
We talked about them going to be running that spread offense with a lot of quarterback option that was going to be involved with it. This was just textbook right here. You see Braxton Miller string out the defense, and right at the last second, Krishan Dupuis, the corner for Miami, was the only person. He had to make a decision. Do I go after the quarterback? Do I go after the ball carrier? And he made the decision to go after Braxton Miller, and that little stutter step right there was huge. Create the separation to get in the end zone.
In the first half, we said that Braxton Miller didn't have Terrell Pryor's stiff arm, but Terrell Pryor never had that type of stutter step. 164 rushing yards, already a career high for the sophomore Miller.
Well, Urban Meyer was telling Lisa that he didn't want to come out early on and run Braxton Miller. I think after that, him and Tom Herman are going to say, maybe we dial up a little bit more of those option plays here for the rest of the game.
Returnable kickoff. Dajuan Scott can't make it out to the 20. Good special teams by the Buckeyes. A return of 18 yards. All right, let's get into that huddle for the Miami Redhawks. You were up 3-0 at one point, but that seems like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the Ohio State Buckeyes woke up, and don't expect any change here for Miami. They're going to continue to throw the football because that's what they do well. Zach Dysert, 19-34. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the country that this will be their final game stats. Nonetheless, after 2 quarters, just 200 yards, he's going to have to make a lot more big plays if they're going to be able to keep up in this scoring match with the Buckeyes.
Urban Meyer telling Lisa Byington just a moment ago that they need to get better pressure on Dysert. Redhawks start on the ground. Justin Sims with the carry. It's got to be an interesting season to start for Luke Fickell. Of course, last year interim head coach, now defensive coordinator.
You know, and he's still feeling his way around, a little bit different of a unit, although there's a lot of starters that come back. He's still trying to figure out what works best, and he's trying to figure out a pretty good passing offense in Miami. So, as you heard Coach Meyer talk about, we need more pressure up front. He's probably thinking we need our 4 down guys to get off of blocks and get in the backfield, but if that doesn't happen, sometimes you got to dial up a couple more blitzes and get the linebackers in Dysert's face.
Incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down. We had a chance to spend some time with Luke Fickell yesterday, and man, was he relaxed.
Yeah, I think he's just really comfortable in this position, kind of thrust into that head coaching duties. Maybe a little bit early for him in his career, although he was getting a lot of interest after this past season as a head coach, but he wants to be here in Columbus. He's a very, very good defensive coordinator, and as we talked about this game, he's got a lot of weapons on all 3 levels of that defense this year.
3rd down throw for Dysert. Gonna have to run it. Dives out close to the marker, appears to have the 1st down. John Simon tripped him up, but Dysert extending that 6'4" frame to pick up the 1st down. Oh, now the mark is not so good. Originally, I thought they were going to mark him past the line, but there it is. It's a 1st down.
He thought that John Simon was going to have enough to get him, but as you mentioned, Zach Dysert's a pretty good athlete as well. I mean, you'd think that he's just going to sit back there and throw the football. He's a pretty good athlete who was able to get out, and John Simon just couldn't get him on the ground early enough.
First time that Dysert has run the football this afternoon. Savino unabated to the quarterback. Can he bring him down? Dysert gets it off, but a flag is going to be dropped. Noah Spence, the true freshman, along with Etienne Sabino in the backfield.
Attention on Grundy, offense number 4. Ups and down foul at the spot of the foul. It will be 2nd down.
Well, Eric, you talked about the pressure, and I thought that they were going to bring some from the linebackers. Look at Sabino right here. Number 6 comes in. Nobody blocks him. Dysert's scrambling just to find some open space. I think this was a great call by the officials. No receiver was in the vicinity to throw the intentional grounder.
So it's a 2nd and 31. Don't see that very frequently. Wraparound handoff to Robert Williams. Adolphus Washington, number 92, one of the tacklers. Seems like in the second half, Ohio State substituting more liberally with younger players. Adolphus Washington and Noah Spence have been out on the field, and the defensive line didn't see much of them at all in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Both those guys, big-time recruits.
A couple really young guys that Urban Meyer has high expectations for, especially Noah Spence, number 8. Feels like he's got that SEC style of talent out of a defensive end. It'll be a little rough early on, but you want to get him on the field to pass rush.
3rd down and 30. Harwell makes the catch out of bounds. And you're probably not going to say that again to Urban Meyer. You said that in our meeting. Asked him about SEC speed at Ohio State, and he just sneered. They don't want to believe that. They have speed here in the state of Ohio.
They do have speed, and we talked about Bradley Roby already in the 4.31 that he reportedly ran this summer. They've got a lot of speed, but Urban Meyer wants more speed, and that's from the pedigree that he comes from. He feels like you win in college football with speed.
Ball is loose. Ohio State trying to jump on it and score a touchdown. No signal yet. Not by the officials, at least. Touchdown, Ohio State. A special teams touchdown for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, this one's on the long snapper. That ball way too high for the punter. Miami coming in with 2 guys that had not long snapped before in a college football game. David Zalant and Bryce Leewald. Very inexperienced at that position for the Red Hawks.
Ohio State, 2 touchdowns already here in the second half. Welcome back, everyone. Just getting started here in the 3rd quarter, and there's been a lot to cheer about for Ohio State. They have scored 2 touchdowns, 1 on offense and 1 on special teams.
And Dave Zaland is the long snapper we were talking about that has not seen any action prior today. They had 2 long snappers that were coming in, and Bradley Roby's the guy that comes out of this pile with the football. Generally, punters are not used to going down at the bottom of the pile and fighting with defensive players. Bradley Roby ends up coming out with it.
There is Bradley Roby with the touchdown, and it's not only the Buckeye players who are fired up this year. Man, I was watching the sidelines, the coaching staff as well, full of excitement. Returnable kickoff. Dajuan Scott with a full head of steam gets out to the 27-yard line. Rack, take a look at this. This is Kerry Combs.
He coaches the secondary for the Buckeyes, but he's also very intimately involved with special teams as well. And trust me, coaches get just as fired up as players do when there's a big play on special teams, because it changes the complexion of a ball game. Now, this one might be getting out of hand anyway, but there will come a time this season when Ohio State can win or lose a football game in the special teams phase.
2 tight end formation for the Miami Redhawks, down by 32 now. It's been a 35-0 run for Ohio State. Harwell with the catch, pushed out of bounds. Harwell is now their main threat offensively besides their quarterback Dysart. He had 97 catches a year ago, close to 1,500 yards. But for the most part, this Miami offense has been non-existent since the first quarter.
Yeah, they came out with everything flying in that first quarter, but I think Ohio State really settled down. They probably came out with a little bit too much energy and adrenaline, but especially on the offensive side of the ball, they settled down, and once they started moving the football, it doesn't seem like anything's stopping them now.
Veteran Dysart throws that out of bounds with nothing developing. Get all access video content, download our great mobile apps, and participate in one-of-a-kind online auctions. OhioStateBuckeye.com. It's part of the Big Ten Digital Network. "31st career start for Zach Dysert, his first here at Ohio Stadium. Simon coming off the edge, grabs him by the back of the jersey, can't bring him down, and the catch is made by Andy Cruz. The relentless effort of John Simon almost gave him a sack.
Yeah, here's Simon down at the bottom of the screen, 54, coming around the corner again. He ends up almost getting Dysert, but then it's Jonathan Hankins, number 52, who cleans up at the end. Got to give Zach Dysert credit for getting rid of that football. Two of Ohio State's best defensive linemen bearing down on him.
Hankins, 6'3", 322 pounds. He's got a chance to be a high-round draft pick when he decides to leave Ohio State. Another catch made by Cruz, the senior from Cincinnati, has had a nice day.
Well, there's a lot of footballs up in the air, so there's a lot of opportunities for these Miami receivers, and they're going to continue to do this. Ohio State's defense has got to make sure they play with great technique. They can't sit and fall back on their heels a little bit because they have a 32-point lead. You got to keep pressing because Dysert has the ability to put points on the board with his receivers.
40 passing attempts already for the Red Hawks. Did he stay in bounds? No catch by Harwell. So it's 2nd down and 10. Don Treadwell, one of the many former Miami University players who not only played at Miami but served as the head coach, and we're talking huge names. Bo Schembechler, Bill Mallory, the late Randy Walker. And that's just some of the names. We've got other very recognizable names that have both played and served as a head coach at Miami University. Jamire Westbrook with that catch. Well, they call it the cradle of coaches, and for good reason. These are just the guys who have played and coached there. Parsegian, John Pont, of course, from Indiana, Bo Schembechler, Mallory, Tom Reed. That's Don Treadwell's head coach during his playing days. Randy Walker went on to serve as a wonderful head coach in the Big Ten at Northwestern. We didn't even mention, of course, Woody Hayes. He coached Bo Schembechler when Bo Schembechler was a player at Miami. Harwell open. Touchdown, Miami. Nick Harwell comes alive in this 3rd quarter.
Again, really nicely delivered football right there by Zach Dysert, and that was Corey Brown, the defensive Corey Brown, or otherwise known as Pittsburgh Brown, that was in trail coverage right there, and he just got beat by Nick Harwell. Very nice route there, but again, you see that when Zach Dysert delivers the football, it's generally where only his receiver or nobody else is going to be able to make a play on it.
Extra point is good, and would you believe it or not, but this is the first time that either team, Miami or Ohio State, has scored at this side of the field. Ohio State up 35-10. Let's take a look at the results of our Twitter poll. Look at that. 54% of you folks out there think that Ohio State in 2012 under Urban Meyer are going to win at least 11 games.
So they don't feel like there's any growing pains here for Urban Meyer and his staff. And you get a chance to see what he's done at his previous stops. He has had success early and often.
Bowling Green, Utah, Florida. Never had more than 3 losses in his first season at any place. Armani Reeves on the return. Go down on the field for more on Urban Meyer. Lisa, what's going on?
Hey, Eric, I spoke to Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith before the game, who was obviously all smiles. Now, he tried to give Coach Meyer some space here in the pregame, but he was even telling me some of the differences that he's seen with Coach Meyer being here in terms of when the players walked out initially out on the field in their suits and Coach Meyer came in and gave him a high five. He said he's very emotionally involved with his team. He also added, we are one of the schools that has the ability to flip. He said USC and Ohio State can absolutely do that.
Wow. Thanks, Lisa. Last year, Ohio State finishing below 500. Lost 4 consecutive games to end the season. But then, Urban Meyer deciding to come back home. Coached here in Ohio before at Bowling Green, then went on to Utah, had wonderful success. And then, of course, the 2-time national champions with the Florida Gators. Chris Leak, Tim Tebow, guys running his offense, putting up huge numbers.
A lot of guys on those Florida teams are playing at the next level, including the Percy Harvins, the Tim Tebows, the Brandon Spikes on defense. He had a habit of recruiting great players, developing them throughout their careers, and putting them in the first, second, and third rounds of the NFL draft.
Braxton Miller, you would assume, would be right out of the central casting mold of the type of quarterback that he likes. He can throw it, he can run it, he's a smart guy, and now he's got some experience after starting as a true freshman a year ago. 3rd and 11, passes high and incomplete. Devin Smith can't come down with that one.
And that's a pass right there that he just needs to get more reps at, because Devin Smith was wide open. All he's got to do is deliver that football on timing, but you got to bring it down. You got to put it right by his numbers. And I'd like to think through continuing to practice on this type of route. This is a great 3rd and long pass play. We're going to come back down the side, the sidelines. Of course, Dayon Nunley's got very good coverage, but if you put that ball on the outside of Devin Smith, I would like to think he's going to bring that one in.
So the punt team will come on for Ohio State. Nick Harwell just scored a touchdown a moment ago for the Red Hawks. He's going to return this Ben Buchanan punt. Punt of 39 yards, no return, and Big Ten Network celebrating its 5th anniversary, and there have been many memorable moments from our coverage of Big Ten football. How about this one? September 2nd of last year, Michigan State's Arthur Ray, battling cancer for so many years, returning as a starter, playing the first play of the game against Youngstown State.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to call that game, and you know, if you're a college football fan, if you're a fan of life, boy, it was tough to fight back the tears when he was coming on to get a starting assignment. Joel Foreman, the senior, gave up his spot so Arthur Ray could start, and it was a really emotional night and a great moment in Big Ten Network history.
Dajuan Scott picks up 3, and Mark D'Antonio kind of returning the favor to Joel Foreman. We got a chance to see on the Big Ten Network Joel Foreman's final Big Ten game last year, senior graduating, and the guard actually got a carry. They snapped the ball, handed it off to him, and he rumbled up the middle of the field.
Every offensive lineman's dream, but just by seeing that, if you're an offensive lineman out there, especially at the college level, don't get any ideas. Joel Foreman was a special case.
Dysert breaks the first wave of tacklers and completes the pass. I'm telling you, this guy's showing me something. He is being harassed in the second half. Garrett Goebel almost had him down, but he still completes the toss out to the sideline, a pickup of 7.
Well, Eric, and you can see that he does just enough to be able to keep the play alive, and that's what their offensive coordinator, John Klasick, told us, that one of the 2 greatest things about him is he's got the ability to keep a play alive, and he keeps his eyes downfield. You're not going to see him running 20, 30-yard, 40-yard run plays like Braxton Miller, but just enough to keep a play alive.
Not much doing there. Harwell, another catch.
Bradley Roby on the stop.
Bradley Roby has had a nice day. Remember, he had the special teams touchdown.
Nearly had that interception earlier on in the first quarter. And boy, he's an impressive defensive back. I really like what he brings to the table, both in coverage and being able to come up and run support.
Designed rollout. Short gain to Robert Williams. Robert Williams, number 28 right there. 2 years ago, he didn't play on the varsity team at Cincinnati. He had no hope of playing on the varsity. He was playing on the club team at Miami. Last year, tried to walk on the team, made it, never got any playing time. And now, Don Treadwell thinks that he's going to be a significant contributor to their offense. Robert Williams, Jr. from Cincinnati, a study in perseverance.
Yeah, feels like he's really good in pass protection, can catch the ball out of the backfield. Be a nice addition if they can try to get some running game going for Miami.
Well, on cue, this is the guy we're talking about, Robert Williams, with the catch, pushed out of bounds. Pickup of 4. So it's going to bring up 4th down and 2, and why not go for it?
Yeah, at this point in the ball game and the way that Zach Dysert commands this offense, you got 2 yards to go on 4th down. You're actually in Ohio State territory, kind of in between that punt and field goal range anyway. Go ahead and go for it and see if you can pick up the 1st down.
Ohio State still has their first string defense on the field. 4th down and 2. Dysert in trouble. Simon on his heels. And it's intercepted. Ohio State has the ball. Travis Howard with the pick.
You want to see a senior defensive lineman and being smart. Watch John Simon's hands start in a horse collar, then watch him reposition his hands so he doesn't just pull down with the right arm. You talk about one of the top 5 people that Urban Meyer's ever seen. I think we'll see continued plays like that throughout the rest of this season.
Relentless is John Simon, and it results in an interception for Travis Howard.
Because Eric, if he keeps going and he just pulls him down with that right arm on the back of his shoulder pads, that's going to be a horse collar. But instead, he kept running, got that left arm on him too, and it was able to bring him down, force him into the bad play.
Here's Zach Boren with a chance in the passing game, and the big fella rumbles out across the 50 to the 46, 14 yards for the senior Boren.
Zach Boren, such an important part of this offense, and see Braxton Miller, what he's been able to do. Not so much success up the middle, but that really doesn't surprise me. You want to get a quarterback to break through that first wave and get to the left or the right side so he can get by the sideline, get out of bounds if he has to.
It's still been Carlos Hyde as the main tailback in today's game. They fake it to him. It's going to be an end around. Devin Smith trying to get to the edge, and Smith, a nominal gain, a pickup of 2. Nice play defensively, DJ Brown and Rayshon Dupree.
That's good pursuit right there by the Miami defense. Devin Smith along with Bradley Roby, probably one of the fastest guys on Ohio State. You get him on that end around. If he gets outflanked, there's probably not too many people on the field that are going to catch him.
Rayshon Dupree, man who made the tackle, he is being attended to.
Right at the last second there is when 31 Dupuis comes in, and it's like he got shaken up a little bit, maybe on his shoulder. It looks like that's what the training staff is looking at.
So Dupuis, one of their starting corners, is going to have to leave the field for a while. Let's see if Ohio State picks on his replacement. Coming on in one of the corners right now. Marshall Taylor, number 21, is the corner who runs onto the field for Miami, replacing him. Blitz. It's complete. Corey Brown pushed out of bounds. Derek, what would you like to see rest of this game for Ohio State's offense? Obviously, it looks like a win is in the bag, but in terms of working on things early in the season, what would be something that needs to be polished up a little bit?
Well, I think they need to continue with this balanced play calling, but if Tom Herman is trying to get growth out of this offense, he's going to continue to dial up some of these pass plays, because that's where I don't think people around the league believe that Ohio State can beat him through the air yet. So he's got to work on that side of it. They know they can run the football, but for the rest of this game, I'd like to continue to see the balance.
Miller makes the first man miss. And he stumbles, pushed out of bounds, short of the first down marker. And now Miller falls to the ground, grabbing at his right calf. Hot and steamy day. I think the rain has stopped. But early in the season, September 1st, guys just trying to stay hydrated.
Been on the field for a lot of plays. Again, we talked earlier, Urban Meyer, since he came in, was really comfortable with Kenny Guyton, and you'll likely see Kenny Guyton on the field. Very similar style of quarterback. He's got the ability to run. They feel like he's a really good thrower. There's a look at the end of the play here from Braxton Miller.
All right, so this is interesting now because it is 4th down and 3. And instead of punting the football away, they're going to bring in the second-string quarterback in Kenny Guyton for his first field time of the year.
But again, you're at that spot on the field, 39-yard line. It's kind of right in between a punt and a field goal attempt. And, you know, Tom Herman said that he feels like Kenny Guyton is a guy that can learn by watching, doesn't have to get him a whole lot of reps.
Design quarterback run. Guyton trying to get to the marker, and he does. Oh, hit hard at the end of the play, and a flag comes down. Marshall Taylor, who had just checked in at one of the cornerback spots, maybe whistled for being a little bit too aggressive.
After the play was over, personal foul, late defense, number 21, 15-yard penalty, first down.
We talked about Marshall Taylor just coming into the ball game. That's just a little bit of the inexperience right there. If you see Kenny Guyton is clearly running out of bounds, you just got to hold off. No reason to hit the quarterback in that situation.
Guyton remains in the game at quarterback. How much do things change with him in there instead of Braxton Miller?
Honestly, I don't think they change at all, Eric. I think they run the exact same style of offense. You've seen Kenny Guyton's got the ability to run the football. It's not going to change to be a passing offense by any means.
Incomplete, looking for Evan Spencer. We asked Urban Meyer what he knew about Kenny Guyton coming into this season. He said very little. Didn't really know him much as a high school prospect down in Houston, but he has been pleasantly surprised with the way that he has picked up the offensive system and the athletic ability that he brings with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw that throw right there was right on the money. Evan Spencer just turned his eyes up the field too quickly before he had the catch secured. And again, this is what Tom Herman had mentioned to us, their offensive coordinator. It makes a head coach and an O coordinator sleep so much better at night when you've got a lot of confidence in your backup quarterback.
This is a run. Hyde down to the 13. Ohio State playing without Jordan Hall. Urban Meyer thinks that he's going to be one of the special offensive players in the conference this year. But Jordan Hall has a foot injury, won't play for first couple of weeks at least. He had to have surgery. Bad snap, it's high. Someone's going to have to fall on it. And it's Corey Brown, but the loss is a big one, all the way back to the 36-yard line. And it may take Ohio State out of field goal range. Loss of 22.
Excuse me, Eric. Corey Lindsley playing that center position, and we hadn't seen really any errant snaps from center to quarterback the entire day. Setback right there for the Ohio State Buckeyes, but a nice job by Corey Brown, not trying to pick that football up and do something special with it. Just get on top of it and make sure you have possession of the football.
They're trying to reset the game clock, and they have. It's now set at 3:52 in the third quarter. Well, we have a moment to take a look at today's Quicken Loans quarterback comparison.
You saw early on it was just dominated by Zach Dysert. He continues to have success throwing the football. There's just no running game to go along with it. But Ohio State, especially from that second quarter on, they've had such great balance, and Braxton Miller really caught some momentum in that second quarter, especially through the air.
And that graphic didn't show you the rushing yards for Braxton Miller, and that's where he's going to really earn his scholarship. He has 164 yards rushing. That is a new career high. Back to Ohio State in a moment. Urban Meyer's debut with the Ohio State Buckeyes as the head coach. He has been on the coaching staff with Ohio State before. He was a 2-year grad assistant back in the 80s when Earl Bruce was the head man.
Definitely familiar with this area, familiar with Ohio football. I think that's one of the biggest assets that he has, is that from a recruiting standpoint, he knows where to go in this state, which is so rich with talent.
Lisa Byington is standing by with some Ohio State royalty. Lisa, take it away.
Left-handed royalty in Michael Redd, who's a big football fan. When you were here, it was the Cooper era.
Yes.
Now it's the Urban Meyer era. Do you feel the buzz here today?
Yes. There's such a buzz in the city, excitement. Obviously, we know the reputation of Urban Meyer, and to have him here at Ohio State is huge. So I'm excited for our future.
Now, you played golf with Urban Meyer. Tell us about that.
It was fun. He's intense. He hates to lose. I think I got the best of him that day. It was a competition that we did locally here in the city, so it was great, but just enjoyed talking to him throughout the day.
What are the scores? What was the scorecard? What did it read?
It wasn't stroke play. It was more of just match play. So I advanced. He didn't, but he hung in there for a while. So, but his mind was on football, so that's where he was at.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
No,
Basketball guy with a football guy, and in between NBA teams.
Say that again?
You're in between NBA teams. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Man, Michael Redd could score the basketball. He was terrific during his playing days here at Ohio State.
And he was terrific at being humble down there. Didn't want to say how bad that he beat Coach Meyer in his round of golf. I could admire that.
Have a bit of a delay right now. John Quinn, our head linesman, he got dinged up right there. It was kind of caught. Jimmy Turvey was running onto the field for Miami. He's trying to work it out, I think, stand on the field. It's a tough game.
Sometimes it can get physical for the officials too, especially that umpire sitting right in the middle of the defense, but these guys understand what's going on.
So it's 2nd down and 6. Miami with the ball. Redhawks scoring a touchdown last time they had it. Touchdown pass, Dysert to Harwell. Westbrook, the true freshman, is absolutely hammered. Wow.
Westbrook, the ball carrier.
Ryan Shazier with that tackle, a pickup of 1.
Shazier is one of those guys that when he came in as a really highly touted freshman, he was only in that 200 to 210 pound range. And in this offseason, he's really added some weight so he could be able to take up more of these hits. Let's take a listen how this one sounded on the field.
You miss playing?
Got to keep your head on a swivel, especially when you see somebody with the speed of Shazier coming at you.
3rd down. Dysert throws it up, and it's out of bounds, looking for Andy Cruz. Ohio State's defense is going to force the punt team to come on for Miami.
For the most part, too, I've noticed that this Ohio State defense has really settled down in their pass protection. They were getting beat a lot early in the game, especially in the first half. I think they've kind of settled in, realized some of the route combinations that are coming at them, and now they've had their defenders in the correct position.
We've had 1 bad snap so far today from Miami. This snap is a good one. Murphy gets it off. Not a great kick. It's going to be good starting field position for Ohio State. Let's take a look at our Polaris hardest working player, and the sophomore from Sewanee, Georgia, Bradley Roby. Full stat line for him, 6 tackles. He's broken up a couple of passes. And then, of course, the fumble recovery for a touchdown on the bad snap and punt formation.
Yeah, he's a ball hawking corner. There'll be a lot of plays with him the rest of the season where he's going to be making plays on the ball, not only in the defensive side, but you'll see him a lot on the special teams too, especially on that punt block unit. Mark my word right now, Ohio State will be a very good punt blocking team throughout the rest of the season.
Braxton Miller comes back on. He was replaced by Kenny Guyton for a couple of plays last time Ohio State had it. Hyde staggers forward, has the 1st down, and then some. Let's go to Dave Revson back in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
little news for you on Purdue. Caleb Turbush was supposed to start at QB. He will not. Suspended for a game, an unspecified violation of team rules. We have that game coming up at 3:30 Eastern, Eric.
Wow, thank you, Dave. That is big news. Boilermakers trying to catch a break with their quarterback play in recent years. Seems like anything that can go wrong has gone wrong. Kent Kern, true freshman, coming off the bench for Miami and making the tackle. And once again, it looks like Braxton Miller in a bit of pain.
Eric, it almost looks like he's battling some cramps. You know, generally when you see a trainer come on, they start stretching that heel and everything. You take another look at it, he's not taking any hits or anything. It's just kind of when he gets down, he's getting in an uncomfortable situation, and he's probably catching a cramp.
What are some of the things that you used to do back in the day to avoid that situation? You played in the NFL in some hot environments down in Atlanta.
Generally at this point in the ball game, there's nothing that you can do. You've got to get hydrated before. And as we talked about, he's running a lot of plays. But that's why these guys are taking Gatorade not only the morning of the game, but they're doing it Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, trying to hydrate throughout the entire week so this doesn't happen during a football game.
Kenny Guyton, his second bit of action for Ohio State at quarterback. Redshirt junior from Houston. Says he's really improved his footwork as a passer. Throws it to Jake Stoneburner, who wasn't looking. Miscommunication there.
Yeah, Guyton was waiting for Stoneburner to look right away on kind of one of those quick pop passes, but Stoneburner had his idea that he was going to go all the way across the formation and start looking once he beat the linebacker. Definitely a miscommunication on that route combination.
Line to get is the 25. Blitz is picked up, but Guyton still goes down. Mwanza Wambalumba with the sack. Mwanza Wambalumba, the junior from Fort Meade, Maryland, was born over in the Congo. I think this guy has got a chance, really fills out the lineup card. He's 6'3", 261 pounds. And look at the excitement level for him, getting a sack here in front of a packed house at Ohio Stadium. Clock continues to move, winding down our third quarter. Ohio State sending the punt unit on, Ben Buchanan. Nunley's going to stay away from it, and it's going to be down at the 5-yard line. 16 seconds left here in the third quarter, and just a reminder, next Purdue is going to be hosting Eastern Kentucky, or you'll see the Wisconsin Badgers taking on Northern Iowa. Coverage starts after our game, presented by John Deere. Go to btn.com/gamefinder to find the game in your area. What do you think about Wisconsin? I know they don't know what's going to happen in their game against Northern Iowa, but what are your thoughts on a new quarterback this year? Monty Ball coming back.
Yeah, Danny O'Brien just needs to make sure that he goes in and is Danny O'Brien. He doesn't try to go in and be what Russell Wilson did. And then Monte Ball, yes, it is Monte this year. Will he be able to follow up that last season? Again, I don't know if he needs to try to fill up the stat sheet like he did, but if they can continue running the football, especially with all the changes that they've had on the offensive staff, Wisconsin's always going to be a contender.
Number 71, half the distance to the goal, remains first down.
Zach Lewis, sophomore from Chicago, started a half dozen games a year ago. He's listed at the left tackle, but all these Miami offensive linemen moving all over the line throughout the course of the game. Big time hit. Pass catcher doesn't go down. That's Steve Mark, the tight end, who stays on his feet after Travis Howard put a lick on him. And that's going to be the final play of quarter number 3. It has been all Buckeyes here on a Saturday afternoon in Columbus. Heading to the fourth quarter, Braxton Miller and the Ohio State Buckeyes trying to finish off this 35-10 lead against Miami.
This fella you got on me knows that I'ma show him up. He can back 10 I'ma still blow by.
Welcome back, everyone. Start of quarter number 4. Ohio State and Miami, one of the great traditions here at Ohio Stadium. Hang on Sloopy between the third and the fourth quarter. And Urban Meyer pulling a couple ears back on the headset just so we can listen and take it all in and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, he's a big guy when it comes to traditions, and he's been very integral in starting traditions at his other stops, but felt like here at Ohio State they had so many traditions he didn't need to do it.
And he said some of the traditions that he imported at Bowling Green were actually things that started here at OSU.
But Quick Cal, as you got a chance to see before the game started, that is something that he has brought to Ohio State, and trying to get the fans in the stands, especially the students, engaged in. I think it'll be really cool for him, between the players and the fans, to do that every game before it starts.
What's going to be the first thing to come around for this Ohio State team under Urban Meyer? The offense, the defense, where are we first going to see an Urban Meyer style side of the ball?
I think it's going to be offensively, because Ohio State has usually always played great defense, and I think they're poised to play great defense again this year.
Picked off Travis Howard with the ball, and Howard out of bounds inside the 10. Howard's second interception of the day.
And just as we start talking about the offense, the defense makes a big play. But turnovers has been a staple for Urban Meyer, and everywhere that he has gone, his teams have dominated the turnover margin, and he's making that an emphasis with this Ohio State team, that in order for us to be successful, we have got to dominate in the turnover margin.
So the Buckeyes in the red zone already. Braxton Miller still on the sideline. Kenny Guyton calling the signals. Carlos Hyde behind him. He gives it to Hyde. And Carlos in there. Touchdown, Ohio State.
And 8-yard touchdown run for Carlos Hyde.
Second touchdown for Carlos Hyde. Drew Basil has had a busy day. Nothing but extra points. This is 6th. And Ohio State up by 32. 42-10 is the score. Ohio State continues to have so many big plays made by their offense, defense, and special teams. This results in a touchdown by Carlos Hyde.
Starting here in the fourth. In my opinion, it's good to get all these mistakes ironed out, have the slow start in this game. You don't want to have that to happen in a few weeks when you go on the road at Michigan State.
The intensity, the feeling. Brand new day here at Ohio State. Urban Meyer putting his stamp on this program. Another kickoff returnable. Scott wrapped up and brought down. Let's go to Dave Revson in Chicago for a BTN.com studio update.
Okay, Eric, Nate Shieldhouse out for the game with an ankle injury for Illinois, so the defense getting them some points. Ashante Williams with the pick 6. The Fighting Illini on top of Western Michigan 24-7.
Thanks, Dave. Hope that Nathan Shieldhouse is okay. He's going to be a big part of that offense at Illinois. They're excited in their beginning of the season because Nathan Shieldhouse winning a quarterback derby during this summer. Westbrook, nowhere to go.
And there's really been nowhere to go the entire afternoon. Coming into that play, Miami had minus 11 yards rushing when you factor in sacks. And this Ohio State defense has really put the clamps down. Now, yes, coming into the game, Miami hasn't been a very good rushing team. They will need to make improvement in that area if they want to be successful under Don Treadwell. But when you have a guy like Zach Dysert who is so good throwing the football down the field, you can see why they dial up a majority of pass plays.
Westbrook with the carry, and let's talk about this offense right now for Miami. A couple of straight running plays. Are they just trying to establish some form of run for the rest of the year, or how come they're not throwing the ball like they used to?
I think it's a little bit of both. You also just saw an interception that turned into 7 points really quick for Ohio State. So Don Treadwell's probably trying to get a little bit of work on the running game, but he also wants to make sure that this doesn't get too out of hand for his offense and have Dysert start throwing interceptions all over the field.
Play action on third down. Pass is incomplete, looking for Harwell. And it's a 3-and-out. I just have to wonder how much energy these guys have left after playing in significant heat and humidity all afternoon long.
And how much arm strength that Dysert has left. I mean, he's been throwing that football, seems like snap after snap. And you, as you mentioned, Eric, you couple that with the humidity and it becomes a long day, especially when you're not putting points on the board like you expect to as a passing offense.
Returnable punt. Corey Brown still on his feet, and Brown tackled at the 40-yard line. Our big day here on the Big Ten Network continuing. Purdue hosting Eastern Kentucky, Northern Iowa and Wisconsin in Madison, and then later on this evening, Indiana State taking on Indiana. It's all on BTN. Go to btn.com/gamefinder to find the game in your area. Kevin Wilson and Indiana trying to turn things around from a year ago. Kevin Wilson was once an assistant on this Miami University staff. Kenny Guyton still in at quarterback for Ohio State. Wants to throw. Pass is complete to Devin Smith, who's tackled at the 33.
And I doubt we're going to see any Braxton Miller the rest of the afternoon, but I think this is excellent opportunity for Kenny Guyton to get on and get some meaningful snaps in this ball game, because you always hear the phrase, the backup quarterback is always one play away from being a starter, and the more reps that he's able to get in a competitive situation, the more prepared they will be if something were to happen to Braxton Miller.
They're not slowing down much. Down to the 26-yard line with that pitch and catch. Nick Bennett with the reception. Let's go down to Lisa.
Yeah, just watching Braxton Miller, he's able to kind of walk up and down here the sideline. I talked to head athletic trainer Doug Callan, and he wasn't too concerned about Miller's cramping here on the sideline. But what he told me actually at Thursday at practice is that they do have to be concerned with some dehydration factors. He said there's about 100 gallons of water that they use at practices, and because of this up-tempo, no-huddle offense, they've realized that the offensive players have used more water during the week, and they've actually had to refill those 100 gallons more times than he can remember in the last few years, just because they're constantly moving and going.
That's a great point. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, it's been hot and muggy, and for the most part, we haven't seen too many cramping issues, with the exception of the quarterback, Braxton Miller.
Yeah, they've been doing a great job, and Urban Meyer, he also makes it a priority, because when we were out at practice on Thursday, you constantly heard him saying, all right, give them a rinse, meaning let the guys get some water, because of how fast their tempo of practice is going, how they're running from drill to drill. He wants to make sure these guys are hydrated, because like we mentioned, if you wait until Friday or Saturday morning to get hydrated, it's too late. You've got to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Third down and 3. Buckeyes already in field goal range. Guyton senses the pressure, steps up in the pocket, and completes the pass. Second catch on this series for Nick Bennett, redshirt freshman from right here in Columbus.
You're seeing a couple of different tight ends in the mix this year because they've moved Stoneburner a little bit out in the slot to play some more of that wide receiver position. So you're going to see a lot of Vanette and Hireman playing the traditional tight end role for the Buckeyes this year.
catch out in the flat is Corey Brown. And Derek, in years past, Ohio State would have a 32-point lead in the fourth quarter, and it would be boom, tailback up the gut, boom, fullback up the gut, boom, tailback around end. Not so much anymore. Is this going to be an issue trying to salt away games? Do they have the type of offense that can bleed some clock?
I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. I think they will continue to work on the passing game, and they'll continue to work on the passing game having Kenny Guyton on the field. But I feel like when they've got Bryante Dunn, Carlos Hyde, Jordan Hall when he comes back, they've got some players that will be able to grind out yards, especially in a crucial spot in the ball game through the running game.
This is Zach Boren, and Boren down to the 2. Just his second carry as a college player.
Hey, and Tom Herman told us that he will carry the football this year for Ohio State. They've seen his value. They said he's actually a really good running back. And in my opinion, give him the ball again. Give it to him again.
High snap, Boren has the ball, and Boren a touchdown! 2 consecutive carries for the senior from Pickerington. And he has a touchdown for Ohio State. Somewhere, Jim Otis is smiling.
And I guarantee you, his teammates on the sidelines are just as happy for him, knowing that all the time and all the hard work he's put in here at Ohio State, that he's finally getting an opportunity to carry the football.
Well, everyone getting a new chance and a new look here in Columbus under new head coach Urban Meyer. Everything old is new again. Touchdown, Zach Boren. BTN Football is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. By Verizon, call Star NFL to get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile from Verizon. And by Case IH, ready with proven leadership. To learn more, visit caseih.com/4 is greater than 2. Well, is Zach Boren this year's Ohio State Heisman candidate? Zach Boren with a touchdown just moments ago, 2 consecutive carries for him, and congratulations, his first rushing touchdown as a college player. Does have a receiving touchdown, and that was back in his freshman year of '09. Did it on a pass from Terrell Pryor at Indiana.
He's always been involved in the passing game, but you know, you talk to Urban Meyer, you talk to Tom Herman, they're going to have him involved in the running game as far as carrying the football, not just as a lead fullback for the rest of the season.
And once again, there is not just one Boren on the team, but 2. His younger brother, Jacoby Boren, is a true freshman backup center. Here's our Verizon key connection in today's game, and maybe the catch of the year for Ohio State.
I was going to say, Eric, is there any question on a key connection in this ball game? Devin Smith just goes up and snags that football out of the air, and highlight time right there.
Zach Dysert, it looks like his afternoon is over with. Austin Boucher will come on. Hands it off to Justin Semmes. There are a couple of Bouchers on the Miami University roster. This is Austin. He is a junior. His brother, Colin, is also a junior. They're twins. And even though they're not identical twins, they have identical GPAs. They both are 3 years into their college experience, and they both have exactly 3.21 GPAs, even though they've taken different classes. Is that incredible?
That is incredible. I know it's quite the coincidence, but it's still incredible.
Left-hander gets it out to Semmes. Stays in bounds. That is a first down. Clock will stop temporarily here in the college game and then start up again. Pick up of 8.
Just as long as the Bouchers don't wear the same clothes to class, I'm okay. They can have the same GPA, but just don't wear matching clothes to class.
Boucher is an Ohio kid. He's from Kettering, Dayton area, to Alter High School. And just swarmed. Is that going to be a helmet-to-helmet? Penalty flag is down. Connor Crowell on the tackle, redshirt freshman from Maryland, but we'll have to sort this out. Nope, it's going to be a hold against Miami.
holding offense. Number 71. Penalties decline. Results.
Seeing Zach Lewis, number 71 right there in the middle of your screen, gets called for the holding penalty. He's actually been called for a couple of penalties, having a little bit of a rough afternoon, and looks like there was some miscommunication there too between Boucher and his receivers, thinking that he was going to have somebody quick in the flat.
Delayed handoff to Williams, who has flashed for you for Ohio State defensively? Who's kind of jumped off the screen in your eyes?
I think it's the normal guys. It's John Simon up front and his relentlessness and how he pass rushes, how he plays the run. And then it's Bradley Roby out on the outside. I mean, he just seems to always be around the ball. But not only that, he's physical. I like that when the ball goes up in the air, he's physical. He's not waiting for it to come down. He's got good hands. And he's also been very active in special teams. I think that will continue for the rest of the season.
Boucher on third down. Wrapped up, and he is tackled behind the line of scrimmage. The big fella, true freshman defensive tackle, Adolphus Washington.
Talked to Luke Fickell the other day, and he mentioned that when Adolphus came in, he thought he was going to be about a 260, 270-pound defensive end, and he stepped on the scale, and he ended up being 291 pounds. So they basically said, welcome to being a defensive tackle, but he still has the potential to be a very good defensive tackle with his size at 6'3", 290 pounds.
And the Buckeyes have had great defensive tackles over the years, that's for sure. Armani Reed, a little bit of a bobble, but comes up with it on the fair catch. It'll be Ohio State ball at the 34-yard line.
Braxton Miller's just had an outstanding afternoon. You saw the Devin Smith catch, but what I'm been so impressed by is it's been in both phases. It's been through the air and on the ground, and once he's seen a hole, he has just bursted through. We know that he's got top-notch speed, that great stutter move right there to get into the end zone, but that's what he brings to the table for this offense. If he grows to be a better passer, this is going to be a dangerous offense.
Here's our John Deere Gator game changer, Braxton Miller, cooling things off on the bench. 207 yards through the air, 161 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. This is a guy who played as a true freshman last year, only Art Schliessner back in the 70s. And Terrell Pryor, of course, just a couple of years ago, starting games at quarterback as a true freshman at Ohio State.
368 total yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a really good afternoon, especially when you're talking about through 3 quarters of a football game. Had the struggles early, but continued to fight through it. And I like how he had that balance between the run and the pass. He wasn't just a running quarterback. He showed that he can make some plays in the air to his wide receivers.
3rd down and 1. Next week, Ohio State. They're going to be right here again at Ohio Stadium. They'll take on UCF. Central Florida comes to town. Be a whole bunch of home games this season for Ohio State, 8 of them. Bryante Dunn, true freshman from right here in Columbus with the carry. No, he's actually in Canton, up the road.
Gain of 8 to the 49-yard line, Ohio State football.
While we have a moment, I'd like to thank the media relations directors for their help this week. Just an excellent staff that Jerry Emig has here at Ohio State. Mike Pearson, man, Big Ten all the way, if you ask me, with what he does at Miami University. Mike's a Big Ten guy, went to Michigan State. He's worked at Michigan State and Illinois, now at Miami, doing wonderful things. Football around the Big Ten underway, and the big debut for Urban Meyer looks to be coming off as a successful one for Ohio State.
Yeah, big-time success. May not have looked that way in the first 15 minutes of the ball game, but he really kept his troops into this one, and I think you got to commend him and you got to commend the entire coaching staff to make sure that they continued to fight through it. They knew at some point it was going to pop. They were going to hit some plays offensively. The defense was going to settle down, get some stops, get some turnovers, and all that came together, especially back in that second quarter.
Bryante Dunn, another carry. One thing that we noticed when we talked to Urban last couple of days, his word choice. When he was talking about the Michigan Wolverines, he never said Michigan or the Wolverines or that team up north. He said, our rivals. He's referring to the Wolverines as our rivals, and that's it.
Become a staple in that Michigan-Ohio State rivalry that they are not referring by name to either school, and I like it. I think rivalries is what all of college football is about, and especially for Ohio State, not eligible for the postseason, that will in effect be their bowl game, so you know the Buckeyes will be ready to play that day. Eric, you talked about the home games coming up for Ohio State. A lot of them right here at Ohio Stadium. Central Florida, California, UAB, before they go on the road for a big matchup against Michigan State. And I think that right there will be the defining game on how things are starting out for Urban Meyer. You saw, if you watched the game last night, Michigan State has a tenacious defense. It'll be a very good matchup for this offense here at Ohio State.
I think that a big week in Ohio State football is going to be that open date that they have November 10th. That week they're not playing at all. That's right before their final 2 games of the year. They're 2 doozies, at Wisconsin and then right here at Michigan. So it's going to be a full 13 days to kind of get your mind right and focus for the final thrust during the regular season.
Get guys healed up, and as you mentioned, Eric, they got 2 really tough matchups to close the season, but as this conference continues to get more competitive and recruits come in that end up being 4- and 5-star, and these coaches continue to develop them, there's not going to be very many easy games on your schedule, especially in conference play.
Catch is made. Verlon Reed into the game, stays in bounds. Clock continues to move. We're under 3.5 to play here in this season opener for both Ohio State and Miami.
Yeah, and a really good job so far by Kenny Guyton, how he's been able to lead the offense. A lot of times when you see the backup quarterback come in, that generally means 3 and out. But he's been able to get plays through the run and pass here as the second-team quarterback.
Rod Smith with the carry, and this guy has got that great body, 6'3", 228 pounds, out of Harding High School in Fort Wayne. Another carry, Smith. Kent Kern on the tackle.
So, Eric, you asked me earlier in the game, does Ohio State have the personnel if they need to grind out a ball game, if they need to finish somebody out? And you're seeing these guys come in, Carlos Hyde, Rod Smith, Bryante Dunn, all of these guys well over 200, 220 pounds. And that, to me, shows that you've got the speed, especially when Jordan Hall comes back, to be able to make plays out on the perimeter. But when they have to go in between the tackles, they've got a stable of guys that they should feel comfortable with.
Inside run for Smith. And it'll bring up 3rd down. So what we have gathered from Urban Meyer and his coaching staff, Carlos Hyde is the definitive #1, and he's #1 by a long shot at tailback. Then Bryante Dunn, and now Rod Smith, who we're getting a chance to look at.
And I asked Tom Herman yesterday about the running back rotation, and he said that Carlos Hyde has earned the right to only come out of the ball game when he's ready to come out of the ball game. He said that his turnaround as far as mentally has been astronomical, and that's been a huge part of the success of the offense, especially in this game today against Miami.
Curious to see how Ohio State plays this right now. They just got a 1st down inside the 10. They hurry up to the line of scrimmage. Are they in a hurry to score another touchdown, or just kind of bleed it a little bit right now?
I think they're going to bleed a little bit and keep running the football. This is good work for everybody on the field to keep working on the run game. Again, make sure that they've got the ability to grind out yards in the run game when they need to.
Dunn is whacked. Look at that number rack.
And I think that was to be expected. Everybody knew that it was going to be an up-tempo style of spread offense. 62 plays a year ago, over 80 plays today. And I think that will continue, especially when they find success. You saw how quickly Braxton Miller got the offense going.
First college touchdown, Bryante Dunn runs it in from 3 yards out. True freshman from Kent Glen Oak High School. Another touchdown for Ohio State, their 8th of the game. 8 touchdowns by 7 different players now. Extra point is good. 44 seconds remain. Ohio State going to move to 1-0 on the year. A lot of different weapons this year at Ohio State offensively. Thanks a lot, Dave. It's been a busy day for everyone involved, particularly Brutus. Some more push-ups there. 56 of them.
You got to know that Brutus and the folks that are doing push-ups, they don't like the non-conference schedule, because when there's a lot of points scored, that means they have a lot of work to do throughout the afternoon.
Buckeyes second most points since 2008 when they hung 73 on Eastern Michigan. Finishing this one off, 40 ticks left on the clock. Ohio State next week taking on UCF. Miami, their next two games, they've got Southern Illinois. They're an FCS program. And then Don Fredwell's team is going to take on Boise State out on the blue field. They're going to play on the blue.
An excellent matchup right there, and an opportunity for them to go up against a really good team. Of course, Boise State coming up short against Michigan State last night, but you could see they still have talent on that team.
Austin Boucher still in at quarterback, hand up right up the gut. And it looks as if Miami is content to head back to Oxford. Still without a victory against Ohio State. They're going to fall to 0-5 all time against the Buckeyes. One final snap. And it's in the books. Ohio State led by Urban Meyer. They move to 1-0 on the year. We'll be back here in Columbus to wrap things up in a moment. Stick around, everybody. The final score, Ohio State 56, Miami 10. Ohio State moves to 1-0. Urban Meyer a win in his Ohio State debut.
Defense did a really good job keeping a passing offense to 10 points, and the offense put up 56 points. I think it was a successful day for the Buckeyes.
And his quarterback Braxton Miller sets a new Ohio State record for most rushing yards by an Ohio State quarterback. For Derek Rackley and Lisa Byington, I'm Eric Collins. Let's get you out to either Eastern Kentucky at Purdue or Northern Iowa at Wisconsin. So long from Ohio State.